The one he's better on. That's good.
All right, the time is 6:35. We're going to call the Tuesday, November 13th, 2012 meeting of the Tilton Planning Board to order. And the first thing on the agenda is a conceptual discussion with Steve Smith on the property located at 304 Laconia Road in the RC district. R20/27, I think. Here's.
It's just one set.
Just one set.
Do you want me to take
We'll
it?
just put these in.
I was gonna say, I've already looked at it, so, I've already looked
You've
at
already
it,
looked
so
at it?
you guys.
That's just in case anybody wants to.
Okay.
All right.
Is
Talk
this,
away.
is this the conceptual right here?
Here.
Yes.
Some of my stuff
I actually brought a couple of colored drawings. I'm Steve Smith from Steve Smith and Associates, and I'm here tonight to represent Joe Sterner, who is the current owner of 304 Laconia Road, tax lot R20/27. And I'm here for information, get a little bit of feedback on this project. I got contacted by Mr. Sterner several months ago. He had purchased the property and he had obtained a document during the purchase for the granting of a special exception to build a building not to exceed 5,000 square feet in the RC zone. You need the special exception to go from 3,000 over 3,000. He thought he had a site plan approval. I think the secretary had a copy of the plan that went to the ZBA, which is this plan right here. And this went to the ZBA. Apparently he got that plan and this document from the ZBA granting the special exception, and I have a notice of that decision. I'm sure you have it. And he took that, ran with it, came in to see the building official to get a building permit. Obviously, it wasn't approved, he couldn't get a building permit, so he called me. Gave me a copy of the letter for the granting of the special exception in the plan, and I immediately told him that, well, you know, the special exception is just a right to do something from the ZBA. You have to get site plan approval in the town of Tilton. He had this plan before him, and of course, it says conceptual on it. There's no question about that. So he asked us to put together a site plan to come to the town. And of course, the first thing we do in terms of putting the site plan together is to do an existing condition survey of the property. I realized that there was some information on that, but because we're going to stamp it, we're going to be responsible for it, we typically go out and do our own work. We went out and did the existing conditions plan, and what had happened that we see is that when it went to the ZBA for the special exception, as you can see on this plan, it didn't show the wetland that were on the property. And it's wrapped around the back and over in this corner of the wetland. And if you look at the plan that she's holding up, you can see that the building would fall into the wetland. The storm detention basin area reserve is in the wetland, actually, corners of it. And the other factor is that the reserved area for septic, you can't meet the 125-foot regulation within the town. It's impossible. You can't put a septic on the lot, I don't believe, and meet that regulation. Pre-existing lot's probably not unusual, but that is the situation. The existing condition plan there shows you there's a building on the lot. I guess it was used residentially at one point in time. It sits wholly within the front setback of the property. It's right along the street. You're probably more familiar with the lot than maybe I am. I've highlighted in red on the existing conditions plan where we believe the leach field is. I've been able to find no information on it, but if you go out there and look at the site, it looks like that's the mounded area where the leach field would go. It makes sense in terms of the location of the building.
There's no vent or anything, there's no pipe?
No, there's no vents at all.
Well, you also had cabins back here.
There were
That were
cabins back
dwellings.
there. Okay, well, so you know more of the history than I do. And if you look at the site itself, Pretty much the entire site has been disturbed one way or another throughout the years. Who, how, or what, but this is just some pictures of the site. As I say, you're probably more familiar with it than I am. So, given the circumstances of what we found on the existing conditions, in reviewing your regulations, with your wetlands buffer requirements, this is in the groundwater protection zone, setbacks and things like that. We developed a site plan, and the reason why we went so far is we had to determine what are the issues. I can't intelligently come talk with you or go to the boards. And we shrunk the building down and got it out of the wetlands, pulled it down to a box that's roughly 3,000 square feet in size, the footprint of the building. But in order to get parking, it pushes it up back, obviously. We still have disturbance of wetland buffer in order to do it. We still can't meet the septic, this 125, we couldn't, no matter what you did on the site. And the detention pond, the logical location is in the corner that was shown on the original plan. But in order to build a proper detention basin there, it would disturb the buffer area itself. We're not going into the wetlands, but it would disturb the buffer. And I showed the 75 feet. In the system, they have some newer systems today. We can make them smaller. We might be able to get more than 75 feet, but that was a reserved area. That's the best you can do is get 75 feet away. I reviewed the regulations, and I've been to Tilton before, but it's been a number of years ago. And I was trying to determine the steps, the proper steps, to make sure that we're not putting the cart before the horse, so to speak, and going to the right areas. And I believe that obviously we need site plan approval. We'll need a conditional use permit for the groundwater protection area and follow the standards that are set forth in your ordinance, which is what we're doing on the review and the design of the thing. I believe it's a conditional use permit for the wetland buffer disturbance. I understand from reading your regulations that those are applications submitted simultaneously with the site plan, which the planning board would review, but they do involve the Conservation Commission, obviously, and it reads that you submit the application and you contact the Conservation Commission, so I didn't know whether there would be a public hearing. Do I schedule the public hearing? Can we go and talk with the Conservation Commission? I wanted to understand that process in order to do that, and then I wasn't quite sure how to handle the septic system. I assumed it's a variance because I don't see any relief in there in terms of a special exception for pre-existing non-conforming lots or any type of conditional use permit that gives you a waiver and that setback distance of the 125. So I didn't know whether it went to the ZBA or not. That's the other thing I was trying to find out. Do I submit to the ZBA to get that waiver for that, or can the planning board give that? We've had some discussions when I first came in, and I got some information, but I felt important to show you the plan. If you give me feedback, that's great. We're here to try to work with the board and have the board's assistance in making sure this thing is done right. If he builds on it, what he builds gets the right approvals. And that's basically it. We're we're ready to do whatever we have to do. I just wanted to understand those and make sure I was clear. And if there's something I was unaware of the property, because the track record on it doesn't seem to be real clear, and whether there was issues that I was unaware of, is the whole reason I'm in here, as a pre-app discussion. And the size of the building, it's really predicated a lot on what it's going to cost to develop it. I mean, if you put a 1,000 square foot building on it and develop it,
what does he plan to do in the building?
On the first floor, he wants to have retail space, and on the second floor, office space, and it's half of that. The second floor is only half of that area.
What kind of retail? What kind of office space?
I'm not sure he knows what kind of retail. I think he wants to build it and lease it out. Retail sales, any type of retail sale for that site. Well, we've got, if it relates to the parking that's there versus the parking and the size of the building, yeah, we've got like 21 and 22 spaces.
Well, you do have issues, you have issues with setbacks, there are issues probably with parking, you have wetlands.
Yeah, we definitely have issues with the wetland buffer. We recognize that. We definitely have an issue with the setback for any type of septic system on this site's gonna have an issue with the setback to the septic. We do know that we have to meet the standards for your groundwater protection area, because it's over 15% lot coverage. We're not gonna build much anything without being over 15%, so we understand those facets of it. He got a new driveway permit, updated driveway permit for the 5,000 square foot building, but we had to move it in order to protect the wetland, and so we're gonna have to get another updated driveway permit again for that. But it hasn't moved much, but we've moved it enough so that we feel we'll have to update that. It's in line with this, it's just shrunk down.
Yeah.
And for obvious reasons, it just wouldn't fit.
Where you're planning to put the parking, what kind of surface are you gonna have in the
Pavement
parking?
would be proposed, paved parking.
And you're gonna be looking more like this. This is what you're looking at to be your,
That is the parking in front that.
yeah, but
we lay out.
that's your whole adopted plan? Or is this still a conceptual that's subject
No,
to
that's-
change?
Well,
This is
the
what
subject
was
to change
done.
will be whatever conditions that require us to change it from either the Conservation Commission, the ZBA, or the Planning Board, I believe. I mean, this is what he would like to build. In order for us to understand what the impact would be, you know, we went through that process.
And you say the building's going to be what size?
It's, the first floor is a little over 3,000 square feet, and they want to have a second floor, half of it in the back office space,
Okay.
which is 1,000 square feet, I think a little
Looks
over
like,
1,000.
the footprint will be 40 by, or 85 by 40.
Yes. Actually, I think the architect's plan shows it 84 by 40, and I think we've got it on there 85, and you've got the final. And this is just a rough floor plan. I colored that in just to show the impact of that grading there. The idea is to get it into the detention basin and then get it into the drainage system that's there.
It's hard to give you anything definite if we don't know what kind of route.
I
retail-
understand that, I'm
What
not,
kind of office, I mean, we've got situations where we've got offices, let's say you have an insurance office where people rarely come in, to a dentist office where people are in and out,
in and out.
with 2 or 3 dentists maybe in there with, you know, a number of cars, so it's very, very difficult, you know, to say, and you know,
And then the retail, you don't know how well that's gonna go, that takes up.
well, you don't know what kind of retail too, so.
Right,
There's
I mean,
certain-
if it ends up being automotive retail.
Can't be in there.
It can't be there.
It can't be there.
There's certain types of
Well,
retail
I
that
know
can't
that,
be in that
and
zone.
like they would have to go to the zoning board or
Yeah.
something.
But I mean, overall, as far as the overall site, obviously they're going to, if they're going to be getting into the wetland buffers at all, they're going to have to go to the Conservation Commission. They'll need to fill out a permit, special use permit. And after the Conservation Commission has given us their opinion, then the board can hear and make a determination on the conditional use permit. As far as the septic system, it looks like you meet state requirements, but not town requirements, so that would require a ZBA visit for variance approval. As far as the retail and office, I mean, fortunately for you, we just changed a lot of this, so, you know, that's all a permitted use in that district. But you'd have to understand that depending on, you know, how what kind of businesses are going to be there. I mean, and I realize you don't know, and we're not really pushing to find out, other than to say your parking situation could very well be, you know, based on the kind of businesses he has in mind, or, you know, that he, you know, is looking
Right.
to attract to the site. You know, like,
In some communities, we have people, like in Guilford and Laconia, if they approve something and the use hasn't been defined other than a retail use which is allowed in the
Right.
zone, they have to come in for a approval for the use.
right,
And then if they change the use, they have to come in for a change of use. So I understand,
Correct.
I
Yes.
understand what you're talking about.
You know, usually when we talk about a conceptual, we would have somebody coming in to say, we're gonna put a doctor's office there, and they're gonna be 3 doctors. And we could go from there, but it's so vague what you're saying.
And I understand that, and that's why I wanted to come in and talk with you, because I have kind of the same feelings, and that's why I can come back to my client and say, look, in order for this thing to work and to get cooperation, we have to list what the uses could be in here, so that they aren't just a blanket approval for retail. I understand fully what you're saying.
but I mean, certainly, even if he, doesn't know or doesn't have any contract, then the board could make it a condition of approval that nothing can move in there until such time as they've come in and done their own site plan.
If you've done that before, yes, I
Yeah.
don't have a problem with that either. In other words, a use permit
Right.
to even move in.
Right,
Condition of the site plan, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's what we do in some of the other communities.
oh,
I
it's
mean,
good for
someone's
you.
doing a spec building, it's pretty difficult sometimes to know,
Yeah.
Right,
you know,
No, we
what's gonna go
understand
in.
But I'm sure there'll be concern about how much water shooting off that, would fill in, how much would that detention pond
Well,
hold?
that's designed for the type of parking area we're putting in there and the amount of impervious. And there's been an analysis of the whole stormwater drainage system in the watershed. We have that. I have a drainage study.
Okay.
So that
Again,
defines your detention pond.
I couldn't, I had to do that to understand the impacts. It
Right.
wasn't as simple as just coming in with a plan like this one underneath
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
because it didn't work.
right,
And so it's a waste of time. So, and we'd have to do that stormwater management analysis in order to meet your standards anyways, in the
Yes.
groundwater
Right.
protection zone. So, we fully understand that.
Okay.
I'm not here to not do what is necessary. I just wanted to discuss it and make sure I'm in the right direction, and sharing your concern about the type of use that's gonna be in there, that helps me go back and talk with my client. And maybe we can come up with a list of the things he would like and get those on the plan, as these are the uses that could go in there. Anything different, we'd have to come back here. Maybe not, you might not like that, but I mean, that's something I talked to him about.
Well, I think that's going more in the direction, I mean, we've learned a lot in the last few months on some of the businesses that have gone in, that we didn't foresee having problems, and problems have arisen, so that's why we're being overly cautious probably.
Parking is the toughest thing to
Yes,
not get too much, but get enough.
and snow storage and wetlands, okay?
give you some ideas?
Oh, yes, it's been very beneficial.
I think you gave us this is something you want back?
No,
Oh, this
That's
that one's
yours.
out of our
That came out of your
CPA
file. You
file.
can
Oh, yeah.
have those for the record for tonight's visit, if you'd like to, and then they'll be there, and there's pictures there.
Goes back,
I'll put them in the file.
And that was the rubber band that goes in. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. I guess my only one question is, I'll go back and talk to my client, get some decisions made. In terms of filing, should I just go ahead and file with the Conservation Commission and get their input while I'm filing with you guys, or are you gonna make the contact? It kinda says that you make the contact
Well,
with them.
that's usually one of the conditions that will come out of the site plan review, is that,
But what I'm trying to avoid here is to have that condition. I'd rather have their input so that the board can make a decision and it's not conditional.
well,
When you bring the site plan in, I will give a copy to conservation for them to review before the meeting, if they can, depending on the time frame.
And if you wanna visit them ahead of time, why don't you give them Eliza's number, he can call Eliza instead of,
Yeah, I would think it would be important for us to go in and talk about what we're doing and try to explain how we're meeting the standards, other than we just have to just look at a plan. I just think it would be more helpful.
store with retail downstairs.
I had a pen here somewhere.
We probably typed it.
No,
I lit the pen, so, but I didn't, that's mine.
General code.
maybe I didn't take it out.
Yeah, my brother used to sell drugs.
I didn't take it out.
Did you find it?
Yes.
Oh, no.
We all grabbed ours
She
when
gonna
you
give
said
me a
that.
number for the conservation?
Yeah, she's in there getting the number now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those were the times we used to get. So we go to the clock.
Should I stay on Lexington Main Street or?
Yeah, but we have a coffee and a cookie,
You didn't tell me about cookies.
Yep,
Did you bring those, John?
I did.
I'm
There's
bringing,
some
I'm
chocolate.
bringing the cupcakes and
Right
mine.
over here.
Chocolate
Coated chocolate
Bribery.
chip.
chocolate coated chocolate chips.
You didn't bring any coffee those times.
Yes, she did.
I got a coffee right
You
here.
did?
I don't have to make
John.
decisions.
Huh? Trying to sweeten you up.
Good luck. That's all right, I keep you girls with coffee, don't I, when you're
You
out
do.
there in the cold.
Very good. I guess I.
All right, John, guess who's next?
Mm.
Continuation of planning board case 1211, a site plan review for 216 Laconia Road in the RC district, tax map 2020. And John, I believe we gave you some things to do.
Yes, and I have.
I think we've gotten some feedback on something you would like to.
Do you have your board, John?
I do.
Did you find it in my room?
I didn't actually. Somehow it ended up in my room.
Well, you have a room here now, John?
Might as well.
He shares the desk.
Did we forget to charge him?
I was gonna say, is there something we need to know about?
John, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so about the storm.
Yes, you can say that because it's true.
Ha ha.
Don't admit
Nah, I won't
anything.
ha ha anymore.
These are worth scrape chocolate.
I'm not having it. I don't want to be obligated to it.
It's got nothing to do with obligation.
Hey, do you want to get one? Over here in the corner.
You're in the back there.
That's enough. Fall down.
It's on tape.
Are you
Falling over
for-
cookies.
Falling for chocolate?
I went 10 days without sweets. I was like, oh.
For the record, my name is John Bernard. I'm here proposing a second location for my car lot. Last time that it was here, it was a little more difficult to have it defined. Hopefully it's a little easier to define where the paving is and where it isn't. One of the big concerns that was brought up last time too was the retention pond, and it was for a 25-year storm. It has now been increased to a 50-year storm. The other concern was the parking for the customers, which we've located over here. The other thing that we didn't do last time is we didn't really show the different spots where cars would be parked. And quite frankly, we can show them, but when you're running a car dealership, you mix and move the cars around trying to grab attention to your lot. So even though they're shown like this, in all of the car lots that operate in this town, they don't specifically keep the car in a particular area. But this gives you an idea. It was asked for, so I have no problem putting it on there. One of my other concerns that I'm going to address tonight, and I have to get to my file to address it, is the setback. And the setback is an interesting issue. And the pictures are worth 1,000 words. Let me get to the pictures. Hope I got the right ones, which I do.
Is that good, Gus?
I'm going to pass these around. Here's a picture of Benson's, which is within 300 feet of that. And I have 2 copies, so you can pass them around. And you can see how close they park to the road, and you can see where the paving is. Then I'm going to show you another picture of, this is the lot that we're talking about. And if you take a look at this, the orange stake with the flagging represents my boundary line. And you can see how far set back that is from the paved road as it is now. So if we were to, right now I have it, I was asking for a 5-foot setback, which would be the farthest setback of any car dealership on that side of 93. I'm going to continue to show you some more. This is some better photographs that actually represent it. So where my car is parked right now, that truck, that is actually at 7.5 feet. I came in here, that's at 7.5 feet. When I came in here, I had it up to 5 feet, and actually, I really believe that it should go back to 5 feet. But as we were talking, we discussed what was reasonable, and we said 10 feet seemed reasonable. So when I went out there and I looked at it and I measured it off 10 feet, I'm more like 20 feet off the road. It looks, you would not be noticed, it's not good marketing, it's not how a car dealership works. So here's Winterswarm Auto, which I'm somewhat familiar with. And this one is also, you're able to park right up to it. Here's Rusty's. You can see where they're parking. They're parking beyond their fence, right out on the line. That picture didn't come out. And this is Winter Circle. And you can see Winter Circle is another example of where they come right up to the boundary and they park.
Well, we've had many discussions, if I'm not mistaken, over the last couple of years. We're getting a couple of places that have this line creep with
I understand.
property.
So when
This is code, let me just say this is code enforcement,
Yeah.
okay?
I'm
That's
saying,
the issue here. It's code enforcement. I know that we discussed this particular one in detail because I went by there one day and thought I was gonna hit the cars, and I think, Rick, maybe you did the same thing, Rich, you went by there and they were sticking way out.
right, well, they're beyond their property line. I'm not proposing that. What I'm proposing is I can go closer to my property line. They are beyond their property line. They're probably 5 feet over their property line. Here's another example. Here's the other one. This is Jaguars, and you can see where they're parked. So
Samberton.
that's Tilton, I'm sorry. We all know that. We're all familiar with the case. So being reasonable, I have this at 7.5 feet. I really would like to go to 5 feet, realizing that the paved road is out here, which is another 10 feet. So I'm going to be 15 feet back from the road at this point. That's probably what I see is the biggest issue here facing on this particular lot. What is fair and equitable? What has the other ones been allowed to do? And I know these other people have a creep with the line, but if we went to take a look at Winter Circle, which I was here when that got approved by the town, they're right up to their boundary. They might park over it, but their paving goes, go ahead.
What's the state right of way, I guess?
State right away goes right up.
Is that
Goes right to
there?
here.
Okay.
And their paving is out here.
Is that
This is their
state,
paving.
does
This
this
is the
stake represent the state right of way? Or is
Actually, the
it,
paving is out here even farther.
John,
Yes,
on here,
is that
is that
stake?
stake, what does that stake represent?
the end of my property.
So is that
Okay.
the state, that's the state
That's the
right of
beginning of the state right of way.
Okay, alright.
So they have a lot of grass there for this snow or whatever.
Yeah, just wanted to.
But everything else, I think, is pretty much cut and dry on this one from the last meeting to this meeting. That's all I have to say, so I'm open to questions, comments.
I just got a couple questions. You told us that you're gonna do no maintaining of vehicles on that lot at all?
That is correct.
Alright, are you gonna be refueling vehicles on that lot?
No.
Okay.
We don't refuel any of our cars, even at our present lot.
Alright,
We go to a gas station.
any other comments, questions?
Well, not in regards so much to this specifically, but with these pictures that are presented, and the creep that we have seen on multiple occasions for all of these lots, should we look at a mechanism to prevent that creep? And I get this idea only because, John, and maybe I'm thinking outside the box here, but in order to stop a creep, you had to put a wall in. Not a large wall, but an edge, a curb, right? Yeah. And
Structure.
if there was just a curbing along this line.
A berm, John.
A berm, something, okay, that would stop you and maybe somewhere down the line, some, everybody else, because they're obviously abusing it, code enforcement. Start a precedent that stops you from being able to move closer and closer to the road as you want to advertise your vehicles, you want to move them closer, you want to expose them. I'm in the car dealership business.
There you go.
I understand the concept. Better exposure, better
More
sales,
customers,
better
people pull in.
customers, traffic,
It's
etc. The whole nine yards. But we see again and again in these pictures, and thank you for bringing them. Nobody's got anything to stop them from getting closer and closer and closer to the road, except for Rusty's, and even he's kind of like going out there into.
Well, see where he has
right away.
this displayed on the other side of the fence. I mean,
Yeah,
that's-
which
And he has one, I know
This-
now, he has a couple there now.
Right. This
Right
is
on the road.
how I see it and how I think it's pretty easily enforceable. I mean, they should park on the pavement where they're paved too. And by doing that, you're pretty much controlling it. Once you allow people to get off their pavement, stop parking on there, no problem.
Yeah.
The issue that I have here is that if I'm told to stay back here and we give myself a farther setback than everybody else has on that lot,
it should be equitable. I
that's all I'm
understand.
asking for.
I understand that.
I'm never asking for anything more than what's allowed for the next guy. And, Winterswarm Auto, I'll have to say this, Winterswarm Auto has a wall, and it prevents any creep on that particular place. But that's a unique lot, that's not like the other lots. The other lots, I mean, if they were to have a wall, it would actually hurt their business, in my opinion. So, again, I'm just trying to stay focused on this particular subject matter. And again, I was at 5 feet setback, I moved it back to 7. I went out there and I marked what 10 was like, and my car's at 20, 25 feet off of it. I mean, it almost doesn't look like you're even selling cars, it looks like you have, looks different.
Having a party?
Parking lot. I'm not looking to, give you an idea of imposing anything specifically upon you. I'm just saying that there's multiple issues of people abusing that creep and that code enforcement that, we as a board, I don't know there was any control we have, but to
Well,
oppose.
because it's a state road, I mean, that's,
Correct.
when we
Yeah.
requested that code enforcement go out before, that was what we were told, well, it's a state road, I really don't have any jurisdiction on that.
Okay. Again,
And interestingly enough,
That's inaccurate.
when one of those,
So they can have it.
when it was sent out to one, suddenly those cars were all moved back on that particular day.
I get it.
It's
Well-
just a statement of concern that, John, it's just.
Yeah.
It's not, we're not in any
Not
way.
against the concept you're proposing.
I mean, we're not saying you would do it, but we have had problems to where we had to send the code enforcement out. Because just driving down the road, the front ends were so close to the road bed.
I know exactly what you're referring to. I live in the same town, I drive the roads, I see it.
Yeah.
I don't think that, I can only vouch for what I've done on my lot. I don't think you've ever had a problem on my lot. I can't speak for the others. I know that when you're in the car dealership, in this business, it's a very hard business, you have to work a lot. And even snow piling up front there really deters your business. So if you were to put something there, it would make it difficult for you to get the snow back, because you really need to have clear visibility. People need to drive by, they need to see. When you're out car shopping and it's hid behind a 6-foot snow banking, I don't think anybody's gonna stop.
Well, like we told you the last time though, the decision on how much of your setback you're gonna be able to use, I know that you're on the ZBA.
That's correct.
So, that's really up to them, because although we can give waivers to certain things, the zoning regulations aren't one of them.
And I'm not asking for that tonight. hopefully what I'm gonna get is an approval subject to the ZBA, is what I'm looking for. And, I'll take it from there, you know. These lots are small, they're these lots are kind of unique because of their small lots, and they're in a zoning that was really set up for larger pieces of property. I mean, they have 50-foot setbacks on this, they have 20-foot setbacks and 30-foot setbacks. These lots will get developed. I think there's 6, I counted, there's 7 total lots that you're gonna have to deal with throughout the next, you know, whenever they get developed as they go along.
The ones where their residences now?
Yes, that's what there's left. And then that's it, then the zoning changes and it goes to a different type of zoning, so you won't have these type of businesses, they're not allowed.
One thing that I have a concern with, there are residences in that area. I think one of you abut a residence.
I do on this side.
Yeah.
They just tore this one down.
I just wanna make sure that you don't infringe on them at all, because they still have that home there.
Absolutely.
And that comes with the snow storage. I don't wanna see salt and all kinds of stuff going into there. I know you talked about the possibility, if you didn't have enough snow storage, that you would haul it away.
Absolutely.
I also, you're very close to the wetlands. In the back, I believe there's some, right?
Well, it's on the conservation easement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but any other conservation easement, I'm sorry. If you thought about putting up a snow fence or anything?
Here's the reality of how the car business works. We can all sit here and talk about, you know, how we'd like it to work, and here's how it works, the reality of this. As the snow piles up, you start piling it back and you start moving your cars forward.
Yeah.
And by the time March comes along, your cars are up into here. When the springtime comes along, you stretch your cars back out.
Okay.
And that's what will happen on this site too. The snow will get plowed back here, and as the winter goes along, unless you bring in heavy equipment, you can't plow snow back so far. That's the reality of
Okay.
it. So, you know, you're only going to start off, you plow here the first storm, second storm, third storm, fourth storm. Once you get to here, you have to come in and remove it off the site if
Okay.
you want to utilize the whole thing.
All right, that answered that takes care of
Hopefully,
that.
I mean,
If, this is kind of a silly question, but if you don't plan on doing any automotive work, what's the garage for?
it's there. It's just there.
Oh, so you're planning to use the garage that's existing?
I'm planning on using Winnisquam model that exists to do all the repairs and maintenance
No.
and all that stuff.
Right
Yeah,
there,
but-
you show a garage that's
Right.
not coming down and you're leaving it,
Yes.
and you're gonna leave the house?
I am, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not, at this point, at this point, I'm not doing anything.
And you're using that, are you gonna use that as an office space?
Yeah, the house will probably end up being used, ideally what I thought I could do is putting an employee in here.
Yeah, we talked about it.
We talked about that, and he said, well, that doesn't really work in this zone, I have to go one way or the other. Now, I went and I did some research on it, some towns look at it some way, some towns look at it another way. Seems like how this town is looking at it, once I change this to commercial, I cannot have somebody in there residential. That's the sentiments I heard.
Right.
So if that's the case, I'll use this for an office. This will be storage, you know, you put convertibles in here, you put boats in there, you put whatever you need, you know.
Oh,
Boats, yeah, sometimes you get boats in trade, chickens, goats, whatever, they go in the garage, you know.
That'll require another site plan.
Another permit for the chickens.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised at things that
Need
people
them on
wanna
your street.
try to do it. But anyway, we don't need to go there. There is not gonna be anything done. All the service work and all the detailing and stuff will be done at the other place.
okay.
You will see me out here washing pollen off the cars. Hey, see someone with a hose, you can come yell at me and we're washing pollen, but pollen gets pretty thick on cars and we wash it off.
Any other questions, comments?
You know, just the distance roughly from the edge of the road to the edge of the right of way,
The distance,
roughly.
this is 7.5
No,
feet.
from on your picture here,
Yeah?
from your post here to the edge of this road, do you know roughly the distance?
Yeah, I can tell you.
7.
I'm gonna try to calculate that in my head real. I'm gonna say that it's 18,
Yeah,
20
that's gonna
feet.
That's gonna be, you know, this is 7.5 feet, so.
So I'm already, even if I went up to my property line, I'm still gonna be farther back off of. But, you know, I thought that was asking for too much to go to the property line. Then I went around and I looked at all the other dealerships and I'm like, damn, even when it's Guamato, I'm up to the property line. Even Winter Circle, that got approved by this town, went up to the property line, but, you know, It's funny, when you go and you come up with these concepts in my head, and I try to say, okay, what's the planning board gonna say, what's reasonable, what isn't, what can I defend, what does make sense? Yeah, I said, well, 5 feet, oh my God, that's good. And then he said, well, 10 feet. And I said, yeah, that doesn't sound too bad. I came back and I had the engineers redo it. I said, let's go for 7.5 feet. I said, I think I can negotiate for 7.5 feet. Then when I went out and I looked at how the other ones are doing, I'm like, wow. But
I'm 6 and 12 inches.
yeah, exactly. That would have been really what the rest of it
I'm
do.
not even sure some of them are that much.
Yeah, no. That's-
So, if I could get 5 feet, I'd be happy. And this plan shows 7, my first plan showed 5. This plan shows the 50-year storm, the other one showed a 25-year. This shows the parking grids and how they would be parked. Although I'll also say at the same breath that, I'll park it one way this way, and then I'll change it up and park it another way the next day. And gotta give the salesman something to do when they're sitting around waiting for customers, right?
Darn right. Lazy group.
Are there any comments from the public? Questions? No?
I have a comment.
Yeah.
Doesn't our zoning allow for a caretaker's cottage?
It does, but not in that zone, you need a variance. It's not permitted in our, because we looked that up.
We looked it up for them.
Yeah.
There's that one there that's been there for years, and so it's grandfathered at the, next to the winter circle.
I mean, he could certainly go to the
Go to the
ZBA and
I
ask.
could, huh?
Yeah,
And I don't think there'd be a problem necessarily.
it's a permitted use in the town. I'm just finding where it is. Okay, dwelling unit for residential caretaker or security personnel. It is by special exception in some zones, but it's not permitted downtown or in RG or in RC, you can, by special exception. So,
Everyone knows there's regulations inside now, doesn't she? So that special exception is what I need?
no, you need a
I
variance.
need variance, oh, okay. And is that something that I can apply for?
Yes,
And so if we were to move forward here tonight, I still can go back and I'm not losing any of my rights to go apply for that later on, is that correct?
no,
Okay.
no, you wouldn't be losing your rights, but I mean, I will make it that if you're not gonna get any kind of approval for it, that you can't use it as a residence. Unless the ZBA tells you.
Yeah, okay, that's fine, yeah. That's-
Cause I don't wanna go by 2 months from now and find somebody living in the house, unless you go through the
I
proper
understand.
process.
And we make a lot of trips down that road, John, as you know.
Yeah, if we see someone out there with laundry and stuff, I got a problem.
That's right, if we come by and see, the barbecue grill going and laundry hanging out, we're gonna,
Our sun,
Suspect.
what I saw was a lounge chair with sun tanning.
yeah.
Oh,
That's one of my workers.
No, there's not at your property, at another property, that's what I knew.
he likes to sit out there like that too. I've seen him
I know he
too.
sits there a lot.
Yeah,
Not much business.
I remember,
There's somebody out of the cemetery last year with cemetery, cemetery.
Come on, Lauren.
I thought I was,
It's
that's really a
private.
nice house, the house across the street. is not gonna get down. This one's
Good
pretty
tanning,
nice.
baby.
I did too.
Have you
All right,
given
John,
any
you-
consideration, I was reading the Conservation Commission, and, they seem to suggest putting a snow fence across the back of your property.
Okay, I mean, where would you put it back in here?
Yes, along your line, or maybe just inside, I'm not.
So no snow goes on the adjacent properties?
Right,
Is that's squiggly line on the back, is that a tree line?
It
or
is,
that-
Yeah.
it
Okay.
is a tree line.
If
so
I can
you
just,
really can't push it beyond into the.
No, because those
if I
trees
can
are
just
on the other
make
guy's.
a comment too, you've satisfied my question about that.
Thank you.
And I think it's because of the type of business a car dealership
Right.
is. If you were a restaurant or something like that, it would be different, but I think you've explained that to me-
Right.
to my satisfaction, as everybody else's, that I don't think that's gonna be an issue. Because you're gonna be forced to haul it away if you wanna keep your business viable.
That's right.
So I don't have an issue with that,
But
John.
I do have a question, are you going to leave the tree line back there?
Yes. I mean, these trees, really, there's a lot of shrubbery that's from these bigger trees and on the next property over, so I don't really have the option of
Right,
cutting
I
that.
understand that, I walked back there.
And this would be of a swale too, and when you first start plowing, this is Guys, I'm sure everybody's plowed here, but when you do the first storm and you plow back to here, that melts and freezes. That's done. Then you have to bring the next storm to here. It worked its way up like this.
Yep.
So you can't like start off in the first snowstorm and start blowing it into your neighbor's yard. I mean, it's, you could, but
Goes over like a lead balloon.
yeah, it's not very.
I mean, you could push it all the way up to the tree line and then start going.
And you don't intend to do anything with any of the vegetation that's there, you're gonna leave,
Yeah, no, there's a bush here that has to go.
yeah.
These trees are gonna stay. These trees all in here are gonna stay too. I don't plan on doing anything with these trees back here. Some of these trees have to go for this retention pond, so let's talk about that. This very small shrubbery in through here,
Yeah.
that has to be taken out for the retention pond. But this will all be left with green vegetation.
Okay.
And you're gonna have proper, drainage so that any contaminated water is cleaned up?
Yeah, that's what this does. This is a retention pond. Anything that flows back into here, catches here, drains over into here and sits in here. And really, the only time that would overflow is during a 50-year storm. Otherwise, it's all going to be held within there. I did the same thing behind Winnisquam Auto, and I don't know if any, I think one or two of you might have been here when I was doing that one. That retention pond is similar to this one, and I have yet to see, since I've been here for 13 years, have ever seen it fill up. It really holds it pretty well. So when these engineers do their calculations, they're pretty good. They seem to work, that's what I'm saying.
And I think that, you know, you've answered the question too about the Conservation Commission's concern, and that's that you were gonna be doing vehicle maintenance, and we'd already satisfied that. That's when you would have to put in some sort of drainage or some,
Any scrubbers.
okay, so I think we're all set there too.
What is your neighbor's name over on that side?
Over there, we have Joseph Jordan
That's right.
and Marie Jordan, which I don't think Joseph is, I think it's just Marie.
What about lighting? Is there gonna be any lighting?
Yeah, I'll do some lighting. We'll all be facing away, this way, away from her house, because I have a building here. And what really happens is that these actually create pretty good buffers for her. There's not a lot of stuff that gets to her. And she has, if you ever walk this property line, she has a tremendous forested tree line all through her property here.
Yes.
But she's kind of sunken down in there, isn't she? She's kinda-
She has a big fence back here and a pool over in here, and it's actually, it's above my property. You can see the elevations are starting to go back up here.
Well, you indicated, I think, at our last meeting that you have a pretty good relationship
I
with
do,
her,
I speak with her.
unlike your neighbors other places.
I'm working on that, that's I consider that a work in progress.
Okay, I think, thank you for your answering our question.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the site plan with the following conditions. It will be, based on your need to go to the ZBA for approval for setbacks and pavement in the setback area. You cannot, do detailing, maintenance of any kind on the cars, without, you know, coming back to an amended plan, and they're gonna wanna see drainage. No residential use of the house unless you get ZBA authorization or approval to do so. Leave the vegetative border across the back of the property except for the detention pond area. Leave the vegetative border on the Jordan side of the property. And all lighting to be downcast, compliance with the Tilton signage regulations, and compliance with state fire codes. Did I leave anything out?
Oh, what about an updated, curb cut or driveway permit? Did you say you had that?
We had that,
Okay.
we had that when we, that's all I had seen.
Okay, everybody have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I'm still not going anywhere, I have another one.
Yes, we know.
All right. Next is the continuation of planning board case 1213, Charles Sargent for sheds and garages. He's the gentleman who did not come initially, and you called him.
I called him and I
And you got
sent
no
him a
response.
letter, and I spoke to him on the phone.
Okay.
He thought it was just like a building permit. I told him
What
he had
time
to
is he?
come.
Oh, he wasn't. Alright, why don't we leave his case open?
Okay, and you may have noticed that there's no times on it. It's
Right.
because Wes has found that other towns don't. Oh, here's a gentleman. Are you Mr. Sergeant?
No.
Thank
I'm here concerning that case.
He's not, he hasn't shown yet, so.
He hasn't shown up.
Okay.
Angelo, have a seat. I read your shirt.
I figured.
Yeah,
I get it
keeping
all.
your secrets. Maybe he forgot he wore it.
My flying monkey power.
Why don't we, at the end of the, if he hasn't shown up,
We're kinda waiting to see if he does.
yeah.
Moving right along, Mr. Bernard.
Denied.
You got one.
I would
Don't
like
push
to-
your luck.
Yeah, right, I wanna go home. Go home and win 'em.
Did not get a copy of the easement prior to, and we need time to review it.
Okay, we're gonna have a slight recess, I guess, the planning board members didn't get a copy of the easement till tonight.
Okay. Fine.
No.
You get set.
Okay.
Okay, you've relocated the parking spaces nearest to Route 3.
It is, it's located up here now, away from the steep area, we'll put it back here.
Yeah. You got the engineering report,
It is, it's
we
been
have that,
submitted.
yeah.
I had a soil scientist, and he's got some other names too, who talked about the impact on the site plan to the aquifer. And if you read his report,
Yeah.
it's in compliance. Then number 5, which we're all well aware of, we're working on. That's all I'll say about that. I'm sure we're gonna address that more, but. And number 6 is the one that I just handed to you, which is the property use agreement between Awakening Chiropractor. That's the one that I just
Yeah.
submitted.
Now, Catherine, Judy had a question.
Did the selectmen discuss easement versus license?
No, they have not discussed the easement you're looking at yet either.
Okay, so this hasn't even been addressed.
No,
by the
It was
selectmen.
That
sent
is
to
not
the attorney and
been
that's what he,
discussed by the Board of
Right.
Selectmen.
and that's what we got back.
There's 2 hearings required, I looked at
So
completely.
you haven't discussed this, but, this first chapter on the second page, sort of puts the onus of liability onto, what is it, 570 or 507?
Mr. Bernard, yeah.
Yeah, for liability of damage to the walkway itself. What about the town's liability if somebody falls on that walkway while traversing town property?
It's in there too also.
I didn't see
It
that.
is in here.
Must have missed
It
it.
is, you know, it's really easy to miss, we all miss it the first time.
Indemnification clauses.
Yeah, we all miss it the first time. It's a little tiny thing,
Yeah. Just
right
one
here, this one right here.
sentence.
Okay. Alright,
But it's an easy one to miss.
yeah,
It was on the second page of the first copy of it, and everybody was asking where it was, and I didn't know where it was either, and I saw it, and that one little line does it.
Yeah.
I have no doubts the Board of Selectmen will come to an agreement with an easement.
Right.
Whether it's in the form of license or an easement.
Has the planning board met since the initial, do you know, do all the planning board members know
Oh, I don't think
of the plan
we met.
coming in the back instead of the
No,
front?
but I was gonna bring that up, but
It's here.
I can say a few words about it if you'd
Pass
like.
it
yeah,
out.
if you want to, if you would just
Okay,
tell
yeah,
how
I'd
it
be
all,
more than happy to.
how it all
So-
came about, John.
Yeah, I'll give a version of it.
Here's a drawing here, and we'll give our
Sorry
version.
about that coming around to the side.
We were first, were intending to have some kind of a pedestrian walkway go across the front of the Grange Hall. That didn't really work out quite as well. There was a second alternative that I agreed with, and everybody seemed to think it worked, that will have this little corner of the lot over here, have a pathway and a walkway going across it, which would satisfy everybody involved with it. So that's the reason why we're asking for a small easement that comes across here. It goes 30 by 40 feet. I don't have the exact amount of property we're talking about, but it's very slight.
I
And
think I have pictures of it on my phone.
It's a
but I'm
small
not sure.
corner.
Yeah.
so without going into too much details, that's what we're discussing, and that's why the town is required to have two different meetings, public meetings, to address that issue. We're all seem to be working together and collaborating with that, and it's moving forward. Again, it's just an alternative use, or alternative, instead of going in front of the Grange Hall, which seemed to not be the best in all interests, so.
Unless we wanted stilts. Unless we wanted stilts.
Yes.
No, it seems to make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I had pictures of it, but I guess I didn't.
Flat
You
foot
know?
walk, we
Right,
have to raise,
it was raised.
but there's no question.
I thought when we walked out there, I took them, but can't find it.
I don't remember you taking your camera out.
I think pictures of it.
I guess my question is, tonight, is where I'm hoping that I have satisfied the majority of this, and we're working towards one that we just need time to have it satisfied, that we can agree that I have done what was required, and I can move forward and try and get some of this done before winter comes. I don't know if that's possible, if the town will allow that, but that's my request. You know, one of the major ones here that I've overcome was the water line at a considerable expense, and I think as some people from the town will vouch for, was a great improvement for the Grange Hall.
Well, let me ask, we have selectmen present tonight, and at this point, it appears that the signing of the easement and working out the easement is what is holding us back. Is it feasible that that will be settled on this coming Thursday at the selectmen's meeting?
If
That
we
can't
say,
be determined.
right,
We
you
have to have two
cannot,
public hearings.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying,
we cannot speak for the entire board, even though we're here, we can't make a decision,
well,
so
the
we can't
majority of
speak
you
of it.
do.
We, if in fact it was, and we moved forward and had an easement signed on Thursday evening,
Well,
You can't
We
sign-
still have
you
to,
can't sign it.
we still have to have public hearings, and then after the public hearings, then we can sign it.
They can't hammer out 100% of what this easement is going to say until they have those public hearings.
Right, we have to have two public hearings, and according to the RSA, then we have to wait at least 7 days before we can sign the easement at the end. I can tell you that it is our intent, and we have been working with Mr. Bernard. He did come to our meeting, and a motion was made. A motion to allow the sidewalk to cross over the town's property with an improved easement, seconded, and all voted in favor. So we did go that far, and it is our intent to see that this happens for the safety of the people that are going from lot to the chiropractic business and back and forth. I wish we could tell you we've had our public hearings, and yes, we're definitely gonna sign it, but there will be probably minor changes as the public hearings take place, maybe not, we don't know. But it is our intent to work to that direction.
All right.
This easement has come back from the town's attorney, and Mr. Bernard hasn't stated whether he's agreeable to the changes that he has made. Then once there is an agreeable easement that both parties have agreed to, then will have to be scheduled for it to go to the Conservation Commission. Their meeting
Yes, I've already,
Monday,
I sent them everything, so.
but they don't have an easement that's an agreed upon
Well,
yet.
they know that I put it in the email to Chuck that this is what we've received back with the suggestions from our attorney, but we have not done anything with it.
So you're just FYI them.
Yes,
Okay, but so they can't make unless we have an agreement that comes out of Thursday night's meeting, they'll have nothing to act upon. And then the planning board needs to act upon it.
Right.
So I don't know if Mr. Bernard plans on going to Thursday night's meeting, or if he's looked at it and says
It's
he
okay.
agrees with it.
I agree
it's
with it.
fine.
My attorney's looked at it, I've looked at it. I'm sorry that I haven't gotten back to you that we agree with it, but it's fine. It really wasn't much of a change at all that we felt. So it's all still within the same scope
So
and
maybe an
meaning and
easement
intent.
from you to the board of selectmen that you've done that would help.
Okay.
So
An
then maybe
email,
we
not
could
an
come
easement.
out of,
An email, yeah.
An email,
I'm
not
gonna
an
give you an
easement.
easement, so that, no, I'm just sorry.
oh no, a statement from you.
I,
Absolutely.
I think, and if anybody on the planning board wants to
Not
add
me, I was
anything,
letting-
that we're in agreement, that we don't want in any way to hold this any longer, that we're ready to move, as a planning board, we're ready to move forward. At this point in time,
But your zoning says that you can't move forward unless all conditions have been met.
correct, but I'm saying, if you would let me finish, that right now, we have to go through the easement process once we have that, but it's not our intention to hold up if everything goes according to plans.
I feel like everybody's on the same page.
All right,
We're all moving as quickly.
yes.
I didn't know if there was I didn't know what the criteria had to be met when I'm coming back for this, the decision here, we're trying to get to what they call this pre-conception, what is this, sorry, I'm losing my.
Conditional.
Yeah, I'm doing a condition. I already have a
No, he's got his approval.
Right, so I'm
This
here for
is a,
Compliance.
compliance hearing,
Compliance.
thank you. So I didn't know if we could move forward with the compliance hearings, or if there's something that not allows us to, so that's all I'm asking.
May I ask one question?
Yeah.
Was part of the compliance, I don't have my papers in front of me, so I apologize. One of the compliance for a study about the trees and how it's going to affect the building if the trees come down?
That's in there.
That was submitted.
yeah.
That was
it
all submitted.
When was that submitted?
October 24th.
Can I have a copy of that, please?
Sure, I'll get you one.
You wanna take this?
Oh, I think it's all in that packet, but did you put the packet back in there?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
It's right in the top though, Gus.
Yeah, all right. All right.
One of the things is I don't want to look at it that night. I want to do something. It's something that's a problem. I understand it. I can not start this. Yeah, that's probably about the best they're gonna be able to do. Just mentally, right, that's what I'm saying, so that's the earliest thing. Yeah,
It's right behind the outbuilding.
but I don't know what's
Behind
the.
it'll go behind the look,
Condition.
yeah, yeah. So parking's gonna be joined right there. And that's where the medical is. That's where the What?
You walk this way.
Huh?
Walk that way.
I lost my pen. Yeah, I lost my pen. Okay. That has questions about this. What asking about this? Oh, I wrote another one. Oh, well.
So what do you guys think?
I don't have a problem.
Hmm?
Yeah, she has
As long
some
as she
issues with that.
Right. You know,
I got more more if they want, the board wants to see them, I got some more to pass on.
partial, to start developing the site. And he never gets to see it. Right. That's right. Part of getting it.
All right, John,
Yes.
Selectman Constantino, wants to, in the H.L. Turner letter,
Yes.
the final paragraph, or next to the final,
Mm-hmm.
says, do you know what it says? Let me read it for the board. In order to ensure there are no future issues with the stability of this structure as a result of the tree removal efforts, TTG recommends that you record the existing foundation and exterior video conditions via video documentation prior to tree removal, following tree removal, and at regular intervals agreed to between you and the town for a period not to exceed 5 years.
That's fine.
And that's what you plan to do?
Yes, that's part of it. That's not good to follow that and more of it.
Okay, yes?
I'm just asking that that be part of the approval process.
Where are you reading from?
This is
Oh.
the H.L. Turner
Not that
group
one.
letter.
Not this one.
Oh,
She had
okay,
a
the other
different
one,
Yeah.
okay.
Here,
No,
I
I
got one
didn't
here.
bring
assuming
that,
that
I
was
didn't
going
bring
to be
that
part
whole
of it.
file
I've been
with
actually
me, that,
working on how to
that's
do it.
one that Gus,
Well,
we
we are.
got that separately.
Okay, that came in on the
Okay,
first.
yeah.
Okay.
Selectman Constantino wants that as a part of the condition,
Well, we can't put conditions on this
Right.
anyway.
but I'm just saying
So we
that's
can
what you
consider that or add it
Okay,
after the fact,
Yeah.
when it comes back and all the other ducks
Because
are in a row.
he's gonna have to come back.
I know, oh, I know.
You're taking
Hmm?
But yeah, we can.
No,
I would agree that it should be, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Copy of that.
I made copy. Oh,
Well, I have a copy of the whole thing, but I'm not sure I have a copy of that particular letter. I think I do anyway.
here's John, here, I have it. Here's a copy, I made copies.
I'm telling you, I'm probably the only guy who gets solid.
I just wanted the one with the number on it, you know.
All right, it's so noted, Selectman Constantino. All right, John, I guess we'll see you again.
Well, what I'm hoping that we can do is make a motion that everything else is complete here, and the only thing we have left to do is sign it, and once that is signed by all parties, then this would be considered concluded. And I think that you have the ability to make that motion tonight.
Well, yes, we can go along with that. I thought you wanted to start work before it was
I
signed.
do, but I don't think I'm going that, I don't think I'm getting that.
No,
All right,
you're
so,
not
so I'm
gonna-
taking
Right.
this,
You're not,
this is
so.
what I
Well,
take a
but
step
you can
back here.
He can
Okay.
cut trees, anybody can cut trees and
Right.
stumps on their property. I mean,
Right,
you know, you can grow up your own property, whatever you wanna do.
but
As
it's,
long as you don't start bringing in gravel.
Right.
There's only a small portion of there's only a small portion of this that falls on town property. Does this preclude him to begin work on his own property up until the part where the easement begins? I
No.
don't think it does.
Doesn't, he
It
can do whatever he
precludes him
wants
from
on his own
hauling in
property.
gravel and actually making a parking lot.
the problem is what happens now, I'm not saying this is gonna happen, but what happens if the whole easement thing falls apart and it doesn't happen?
Then you
Then
just
we-
cut down some trees, rub them, and
Yeah.
Right,
Made
so,
some firewood.
but I mean,
Yeah,
obviously,
And we have less leaves to pick up.
yeah.
that's true. But I do feel that we can make a motion to find that you are pretty much in agreement. And once the agreed upon easement has been signed and approved as the easement, then yes, you would.
And
So
public,
avoid me
and the,
from coming
and the
back.
necessary
And we have to have
public hearings
I
are
understand that.
held. All right?
So once the easement has been gone through its paces and it's been signed by the board, and then yes, you have completed everything.
That's all I'm looking for is a motion for that, so I don't, not that I mind bringing cookies and coffee again, but
Because we love you so much.
yeah, so that's all I'm looking for, and all, I understand you have two public meetings, and then we have a 7-day waiting period, then we have a signing.
Yep.
And then I'd be good to go. I'm just trying to avoid coming back here again by saying I have completed everything except for that one thing, and once that is signed, you would consider that this,
It's
You
not
will
that one
still
time
have to
because
come
we
back
have to
here
put
again.
fence thing in.
You still need to come back here one more time.
Why? Why?
Because
We
of
have to
what,
put Pat's tree thing in.
that's just part of it, I would think.
Yeah, it's just part of your approval.
Yeah.
You send them a letter saying these are your conditions.
of the compliance hearing?
Yeah.
So maybe you've missed this.
I was thinking of coming back for some other reasons, so I mean, why just keep beating
Oh,
this
he's
one up?
got he bought the lot across the street, we'll see
Yeah,
him
he's waiting to
eventually.
come back for that one.
And he
We're not.
might decide to develop that other lot off the
And she's
grid.
trying to sell me South Bay tonight, so
You
who
know,
knows? I mean,
We're
I
not
just.
planning to change the name of the town to Bernardville,
I
are we?
don't think so. I'm lucky to get away with this one tonight. I'm gonna get run out tarred and feathered, I was told, if I do anymore.
Nah.
No, we didn't tell you that, John.
Save me a branch of the tree, I'll make you a pen from it.
Okay, so is that what we wanna do then? Then I need a second.
I second.
I need the whole motion.
All in favor? Let's do that then.
All right, I make a motion that states Mr. Bernard has basically met most of his conditions, and at such time that the easement has gone through its public hearings, and we've waited the 7-day, and the Board of Selectmen agrees to sign this document, that he would have completed all of his conditions and would not need to come back for further approval, unless he changes and wants to do something different.
Not changing a thing. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
So be it.
Go for some grub.
Thank you. Thank
Go
you
for
all.
it, bro.
Thank you all. I really do appreciate the time and energy and effort that you all put in to help this go.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you.
John, there's no evil in here.
Tired.
Yeah, he has to come back on the,
It is. I brought decaf.
Oh, it is the.
Yeah, I brought decaf.
Oh, I didn't have
Sorry,
it.
next
Sorry.
time.
No, I was ready to get everybody all nervous.
oh, never mind, I
Please
was
note
out
that
of
he
There's
only
plenty of
runs
it.
sweet and low, not equal.
I'll make a
I
note
took
of that.
it, yeah.
Next time I'll do
No,
better.
no, we approved
Yeah,
it.
Okay.
I was thinking 16 he had to come back on the
Now
other
we
piece,
have
but he
the other
doesn't, we
one.
approved that.
If he does all the due diligence, then, it's just,
Yeah. But we won't see him again next month, I don't have to put him on the schedule.
You're all
he'll be
right.
back anyway.
Thank you, John.
Thank you for the coffee.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, John, for coffee.
Well, thank you.
Okay,
Yes, good
you'll
thing.
be up next, Mr. Sergeant.
You've been drinking too much senior center coffee since it's been
That
out.
stuff's high test. What is that stuff?
That's good stuff.
It is.
Medical house.
It's rocket fuel, John.
Really don't think and I'm okay with it.
There are no changes and there are changes.
Yeah,
So I can.
send it to
I
Board
did
of
it to something and I
Selectmen,
went to all of you guys.
Board of Selectmen at tiltonnh.org.
Okay.
And
then
it'll go
everybody
to
get
all
it.
of us.
Will do. And I'll get it.
I'll give him one of your cards. It's on, oh, no, it's not. It's on the website. It's on the website.
Okay, I'll pull it off of that, that's fine.
You
Don't
go on
worry
the
about it, I'll pull it off the
website.
website.
That is like, what was
This
it, 26
gentleman
bucks?
is, wanting to have a little business.
Well, I know it was in the 20s. Man, that's close. Did you hear about
Yes.
some other state, this guy was running for city council or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it came out dead even
No.
between him and his
That's
wife.
Yeah, guys, you can pause the tapes and all.
I didn't take this one off yet.
No.
Bye, John, thank you. Thank you for the coffee, John, seriously.
Yes.
different shots.
Is that, I have one.
Rich needs
People with the money.
I think it is.
Your wife went this weekend? Like,
You're gonna rent it
now
again.
that's interesting.
Well, New Jersey, they're probably gouging everybody because they don't have
Pennsylvania.
full power and
I go to a funeral and
Did you keep
the
the
hotel room was
picture?
so short supply, I actually had to
Yes,
stay in the
yes,
hotel
put 'em
room.
in the
So
file.
we're in
Mr. Sargent's the
Pennsylvania.
gentleman in the sweater, and that's in a butter
Were
of his.
were you able to
Okay,
get
Mr.
gas
Sergeant
from
is here.
Yes.
That's John's.
I
Mr.
filled it with
Sergeant,
Connecticut
would,
over there, and I
I'll
filled it
just
with
stick
Phil-
it.
in
Are we ready to
Pennsylvania
start?
Give it to
Yes.
Gus, yes.
All right, we're ready to start, and I believe
She can
Mr.
do it.
Sergeant is here.
yes. And you have the folder there, Jean.
Yeah. Right. All right, this is the continuation of Planning Board Case 1213 for Charles Sargent for shed and garage located on property leased from Gaslight Village in the mixed-use district. All right, 10/26. All right, we received the letter stating did everybody see this letter? Did you get a copy of the letter?
No, I didn't give anybody a copy of the letter.
All right.
You wanna read it out loud?
Yeah, I'm going to. It says, Dear Mr. Sergeant, your site plan review was originally scheduled to be heard on October 9th, 2012 at the Tilton Town Hall, but you were not present. The planning board made a decision to continue your site plan review for Tuesday, November 13th at 7:30 p.m. The board reviewed the paperwork you submitted and suggested the following be submitted. A more detailed plan showing how sheds will be displayed, the number of sheds to be displayed, where customer parking will be, snow storage area, and you will need to contact Department of Transportation District 3 in Guilford for a driveway curb cut. This is required for all businesses along Route 3 and 11. The DOT phone number is, and the number's there, to request a driveway application.
It's the wrong phone number.
What's the wrong phone number?
Typo.
Okay.
Okay.
If you decide not to proceed with the site plan review, please let me know before the November 13th meeting. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, and then it's signed by Gus.
All right, first of all, I did contact the DOT, dealing with a Michael S. Kimball up there, as far as the driveway cut. As far as the site plan, you have it. I'm planning on putting up a couple storage sheds. It's not anything other than that. I'm putting a couple storage sheds up there to display and a sign. I don't intend on being there or having any type of office hours as such. Now, a couple sheds, the sign, a couple, my phone number, of course, some pricing on a couple of sheds, and that's it. I mean, if I'm sitting up there on Route 3, I'm not out building them. I'm just a small-time contractor. It's myself and my daughter. Primarily, I advertise on Craigslist. I'm just looking to do something a little bit more, I'll keep my work a little bit more local than being scattered all over the place as Craigslist does. I end up doing an awful lot of work. My next two jobs are just across the line in Massachusetts. So primarily, that's what I'm doing. As far as parking goes, snow removal, I don't intend on ever plowing any snow out in front of it. I chose this particular location. There are
East Edges previously had a storage shed display. They wish to rent me their former location. And that's already approved, like I've already been there and set up and stuff. I just don't like the corner. I feel it's dangerous for anybody stopping or doing anything. This here is right on the straightaway. If anybody decides to stop and take a look at something, they're not endangering themselves in doing so. And that's why I picked this particular location and been working at it. I've also been offered a site that's down near Winnisquam High School. They sell trailers over there now, but they've also offered to rent me a location over there. But I feel that this overall is the best location for me, and so that's why I'm pursuing this.
According to this drawing that you gave us,
Mhm.
you have here possible other sheds.
I might, possibly put
Well,
some.
I mean, when you give us something like this, you're showing you're telling us you're gonna put 2 sheds there.
That's
and
that's
you
what
know.
I'm currently going to do, is put 2 sheds up there. Now, if things turn out well, I might possibly put a couple other sheds at a later date back there. And if you want me to come back for approval for me to put more sheds back there, I'd be happy to do that. But for right now, I'm planning on doing 2, and that's it. Now, I might also possibly, put out something like a wishing well or something like that for sale. I do build a few other things I might possibly set up there as well. That's why on the application I put on there other lawn-related products.
Yeah, well, I wondered what are those other.
Yeah, I mean,
related
this could
products?
turn into looking like a carnival midway, just based on this. If you say, if you're producing a site plan that's got, it's very vague.
Okay.
I mean, what are lawn and garden accessories? Is it a tractor? Is it a backhoe? I mean,
No.
well, that's not defined, so we
Okay.
don't really know.
All right.
I don't think it's a full plan with no parking and any of that shown.
Right now, they've got 2 cars up there for sale, some lawn and garden stuff, that Gaslight Village is stuck out there. But, no, this is,
We'll get to public comments.
picnic tables,
Did you do what a site plan review does?
arbors, wishing wells, on occasion I build things like that. Yeah.
I guess what we need from you is something a lot more detailed than this. And if you need some guidance from Gus, I'm sure she would be glad to give it to you. You know, if you're gonna advertise on Craigslist, or if people are going by and they see it, where are they gonna park? I mean, I'll pass this around and see what other planning board members think, but it's,
Well, it's big.
You're showing you're going
It's
to
just
use
extremely
the corner of the lot
Yep.
here?
Mhm.
I mean, all you've really told us here is that it's 55 feet?
Yep.
From here to here?
Mhm.
How far back do you go?
I don't know exactly, it's like 114 feet or something like that.
well, that,
I don't know exactly myself.
You know, and you should show us, you know, if cars wanna stop and look at your stuff.
Okay, there's access right here. Actually, the whole thing is possible to just pull in anywhere on this whole lot. There's no curbstone or anything like that. You drive in there and drive out. That's what people have been doing all along.
What about in the winter, excuse me, in the winter, if you're not gonna plow, where are they going to park or?
Is there something in the file?
Then, in the winter
what?
time, generally
From the
people
owner
don't
of the
buy
property.
storage sheds. to be
It's just a
honest with
copy of a lease that's all that he
nothing.
he hasn't had signed yet. There is a
No.
copy of a lease
And
in there.
There is,
That's just a sign.
I,
There should be a copy of
if
the
it, if
lease.
it's, if it's required that I do so and create a parking lot, area there, I can,
But it's
I
not,
can create a parking area
Yeah.
there.
but it's not a signed lease because he
But-
hasn't
Oh, you're
rented
gonna
yet.
take the sheds off in the winter,
No, I was just
so you're
planning,
gonna have them all.
Well, see, this lease isn't even signed.
Because he hasn't leased it yet.
because I haven't leased it yet.
Oh, okay.
But we
No.
need a letter from the property
We
owner
need
saying
saying
that
that
it's
it's
okay.
for us to discuss what to do with their property with you.
Yeah, we don't have permission to do anything with this.
I explained that he needed the letter.
I think what you need to do is come in,
Mhm.
sit down with Gus, and she'll go over in detail what you need before you come in for a site plan review.
Okay,
Well, yeah, I did explain to him that you needed, you need to have what you're gonna do. I mean, like, I know you're only leasing a part of the land and you're not buying the land.
mhm.
Where is that?
So I don't know what you need for that, as far as that he's only gonna put it on a corner of a piece of land.
Letter of intent.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need
He's
something.
not leasing the whole piece of land out front there, just a small section, so what does he need to do for that?
Letter of intent.
But he needs a letter of intent, and I did explain that you needed something
And
signed by the
I
board.
I did contact them and they haven't gotten back to me
Yeah.
with it. I did speak to, Glenn, their representative,
Yeah.
Earlier tonight.
Uh-huh,
And he told me if they needed anything signed down here, he'd run down here to do it, or
well,
whatever, but.
yeah, he needs to come in, they need to come in. They need to provide you with something saying that they're willing to lease to you.
Gus, when is our next meeting?
No, well, we can have one on the 27th. I mean, we're supposed to have one for the, but we can have him come back on the 27th.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to continue this case until the 27th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have a person from the public here that
Oh,
would like to
okay.
comment on this case.
Okay.
My name is Angelo Ferrugia. I own the building next door where Fire and Stone is located. And I just want to come down. I'm not against anybody opening businesses, making money or anything, but it was a bit of concern because most of the stuff you guys have pointed out, such as the parking situation, there actually is a sidewalk there with a gully as well that creates an issue. Big thing for me is constantly, as of right now, they do have cars out there, they do have picnic tables. It's turning into a swap meet out there right now, pretty much it looks like. And I know that Al has been over there getting cars moved. They show back up the next day. So we're constantly chasing, things off of that property. Simply because A, it is dangerous to just have people pulling in, on the side of
And
it.
that has absolutely nothing to do
Oh,
with
yeah,
me,
yeah.
that's
No.
Gaslight Village.
I
Yeah,
don't
and I
think
fully-
he's implying
I
that.
fully understand that, and
No.
it's just highlighting the reasons why the parking lot's a good idea.
Mhm.
And also for me, I have limited parking at my building. I have a very small piece of land, and constantly we're chasing people off because they're pulling up sideways across 3 spaces to go walk over and look at cars and stuff.
Where are you at?
I'm in the
The
old
old
Moon
Moon
Stadium
building.
He would be located right here.
I'm
Oh,
at
okay, the old
539.
Moon
Yeah.
property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things with it too that I don't know what your arrangement is with them, but something that might be willing to explore. If you're willing to explore, would probably be a better scenario for you too. Is I know they want to stick you in that corner by me. There's
Mhm.
mailboxes there. There's signs there. Cutting in a driveway is going to create an issue there for you. I bet you anything. I'm not sure why they're not putting you on the other corner where there's throughway access. That makes it less of a danger off of Route
The
3.
reasoning, I guess their reasoning for doing that is that they hope to rent out the rest of the lot.
Okay.
Because they're originally trying to rent out the entire lot there, and I have no interest in renting the entire lot. And so they're willing to rent me out part of it.
And the other thing was just one of my concerns, which isn't directly related to you, it's just the sheds in general, is we do have already an issue over there in the wintertime, just because we do have the abandoned Fluffy's roast beef building sitting there, and believe it or not, I know most people don't think it's a situation around here, but there's constantly people squatting in the Fluffy's Roast Beef building. So I'm not gonna lie, when I'm thinking of sheds sitting over there, I'm thinking of people, now there's gonna be people over there trying to go in a shed for the night or something. It is just a couple of concerns that I just wanted to air, and like I said, nothing against you. Just things that I think are beneficial to think about. I didn't even know what your plan was until I got here tonight. It's just, obviously, I'm sure Gaslight would like to rent it and make some income. You'd like to make some income. Just at the same time, I think it's important to think of the broad picture as far as that area of the road goes. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, I think, I don't think I'm speaking out of place here for the board, but when we do a site plan, it gives us a good idea of what you're going to do, and we can make sure that everything is there as far as safety aspects and everything else. So that when you're there, or your customers are there, or you say you're not going to be there, but people are going to stop and want to look at your product.
So then, I need to create a parking area.
You need to create a plan that the board can look at and say, yes, he has given, consideration to all things, including people stopping to look at my stuff while they're there.
Okay.
And that they will be safe while they're doing it.
And again, that is the reason why I went up and down Laconia Road, looking at all the different possible sites I could possibly set up at. And again, the site that the former East Edges was located, I was given a lease by them, which I did not agree to, just simply because I just think it's on a bad corner. I just think it's a poor location for anybody trying to turn in there to do anything. So that's why I chose this particular location.
You should have seen it before he did what he did to it. He took that hill down and...
Yeah, but
No,
I understand he did a lot of work there to make it better, but it is still a bad corner.
Oh, I can appreciate
And I don't want us to leave you with the feeling that we're against small business, or
No, we're not.
We're not at all.
Yeah.
But this isn't a site.
There's a way to do it, and that's why Gus is here during the morning, and she would be happy to sit down and maybe show you some examples of what we're looking for.
Okay.
Okay, so you're being continued to the 27th?
The first case.
Is that gonna give you time?
At 6 p.m. Yeah, it'll be the first case, so you'll be in at 6
Not
p.m.
6
2 weeks from
Well,
now.
I didn't have the time, you know.
I need a letter of intent, and I gotta be able to draft something up showing me where I'm gonna have parking.
No, it's gonna be a full packet, not just parking and letter.
Talk to
You
Gus.
need to talk
Are you
to
gonna
Gus.
have signs? Are you gonna have lights? What are your hours of operation? You know, things like that.
All the concepts.
Okay. Sorry. Again, hours of operation,
He's not gonna
She
be
has the
there.
checklist.
I'm just not gonna be there, right, okay.
You're just displaying sheds.
I'm
He's
just
just
displaying
displaying
People are
sheds.
gonna be,
Somebody
But
may
what
call
kind
me
of-
up and I may go down there and meet somebody to take a look at something
Then they'll need to
and go
park.
over. That's it?
Then they'll need to park. So your plan is going to show the areas that they'll be parking.
Okay.
That you will be plowing those areas, that you'll have snow removal for those areas that are gonna be parking, so if somebody wants to meet you, and that's all part of the plan.
Okay.
That's what we need to say.
are there gonna be lights there if people stop at night? Are you gonna have a sign showing that that's your location?
Yes, there's a
Yeah,
sign.
I saw that, but we've gotta have a little bit more than,
The location of the
Just a drawing.
sign on the property.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe I did put that on the original
And
drawing.
dimensions.
Okay, all right, I will,
And if you get together with Gus, you
Okay,
can certainly...
fine.
We'll help you.
okay, thank you.
okay? Thank you. And thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
I'm not
Angela.
scheduled
I'll just
to
go
meet with the
Angel,
planning
sure.
board, but I had
I know.
something come up today that compels me to ask the planning board
Thank you.
some questions about the South Bay.
Okay. This is other business.
Yes, it's under other business.
Oh, Catherine, do take a seat.
Catherine, come to our table again.
Share your concerns. Welcome to Fantasy Island.
I don't know how many of you are aware of how problematic South Bay is for the town, but
Not a clue.
It's one of our,
Rat's nest.
yeah.
Which one is that the,
It's the one at the end of the causeway.
You
is
have,
that the one
you
that?
have, you
the
got
one that
a
you sold
purple
puppies also?
folder.
Yes.
Here,
Okay.
keep
I
the
know,
purple.
I know there's
yes,
another.
Correspondence
So
one.
that we can talk candidly about this, that we,
No.
in the taking.
You wanna wait for us to do a couple more things?
But if you want to, sure.
Why don't we
okay.
do that?
What, wanna review the minutes and do the,
Why don't you just kill it, or turn it off for now, we can turn it back on.
Can we
Okay.
take a break, actually?
I learned about hanging shoes.
Yes.
I can't believe
Whoop.
you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
That mean that, over,
okay, guys, be good now.
Okay. You had what now?
I just wanted to bring up a couple of things, and we hit on this, and I know when John Bernard brought in the pictures,
Mm-hmm.
I said that's a enforcement issue. We got an issue with signs and flags and window signs again, and I don't know how to approach it. I mean, I know how to approach it, but it was my understanding that 207 Main Street,
307.
307 Main Street,
Yep.
we're going to remove those flags. It was my understanding that TLC Jewelry was we're gonna remove their
Yeah.
flags.
No,
Now, 307 Main Streets are back up,
Which one's 307?
Store.
it's the store.
Oh, okay, that's right.
TLC Jewelries are still up, and I know why he's doing it. Well, if they did it, I can too, and I don't blame him. I really can't say I blame him. And then the other day, I got a phone call with the people next door had one up. And then, I don't know what night it was, went down, I went to get gas. And I was almost blinded by the huge open sign, because it gets dark early now, that's over here in the corner store. Have you seen that?
the
This
corner
flashing, the store over here, the
Antique
Across
shop.
the
street.
Cupcake.
The antique store.
Oh, the
They
antique
have a
store, yeah.
flashing sign?
They have a sign that goes, a big lit sign that says open that flashes.
that's not all, I thought they disallowed the.
They
Well,
do.
they did, this is my point, I don't understand why we keep having to bring these things up. We had a meeting with the woman at the graphic shop
Yep.
that used to be the old insurance company.
Right.
She had over 50% of her windows covered.
Yep.
She took those signs down, and now they're brand new signs up there.
Yep.
It's covered again.
Yep.
Now, do we have a code enforcement officer or not?
Well, this is something we're gonna have to take up with him, because I thought he did send out letters, he told people that weren't compliant.
I know
that
he
they
did,
would.
because I checked to make sure that they received letters, and they
Right.
did. But
But
what,
it doesn't seem like he's followed through since then, because I even said to him about the 307 store, I said, he may have taken down those floppy flags, but I said he's pasting signs on the
well,
side
the
of his
floppy
building.
signs back up
They're all
again.
back up.
And the floppies are back up, and now he's got a couple of sandwich boards out on the sidewalk.
There's a
And
lot
I
of
said
spray paint on
he's-
the sidewalk there,
He's
too.
not in compliance. So, it's like I don't know, I don't wanna put words in his mouth, but it's like he's not following through on this stuff. He sent all the letters out.
Well, he seems to be following through with some people. I'm sure we have people at the table who can attest to that.
Well, there may be, I mean, I don't sit here and watch what he does every
Well,
day,
and
so,
I just think we have an issue and we need to address it.
Are there monetary fines attached to non-compliance with these signs?
Yes, there are fines
Then-
attached. So, but
So
we'll
let's
have
take the
to,
revenue.
Actually, on the banners of the flags, they can have them. If they get a temporary sign, they can have it for 3 months.
yeah, for 3 months,
They
but
can. They can put them up
what
if they
about the
want.
sandwich boards and all
I
those
don't know
other
about
things?
those, but I did
And
see
the
that.
signs on the
Sandwich
side of his
For
building.
the sandwich boards to be temporary, they have to come in every night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have to come in
but
every
they
night.
don't, they stay out there year round, and now he's put signs on the side of his building, cigarettes, so much, and now he's putting them on the
Well,
side.
I came by there this afternoon and there wasn't room for people to walk on the sidewalk because of the sandwich boards.
Right,
And then his employees were standing out there smoking, so it was even less room.
yeah. So anyway, it's going to have to be addressed, because the whole downtown, now I did say to, Al, I said, Al, I said, you know, the board is talking about, you know, revamping or coming up with a new signage because the signage that was adopted was for a city that, you know, and it's beyond. And I said, you know, would you please go through the signage and let the board know what works and what doesn't work so that we know which direction to go. And he said, well, there's things that don't work. And I said, so let us know what those things are. You know, that way we can revamp the whole section on signage, because we all know that there are certain things that we absolutely don't want in this town, kind of like flashing, blinking, and all that good stuff. But then there's other things, and I thought it was really important, and I think we still should do it, is invite all of our business people downtown to a meeting so that we can get their input. You know, we're not ogres. I don't want people to think that they can't have signage. That is not our purpose, but I do know, and whether they like to admit it or not, from all my years, I know one thing: business will push, and they'll keep putting signs up in the name of they want to do business, and that's the only way. But you know what? I've been here for a long time now, and putting more signs up only creates blight, and people quit looking at it. I agree, there are problems downtown. The trees have gotten too big. They're blocking the fronts of the buildings so that you can't read the signs. So if you don't know where they're at, you're not going to find them unless you get out of your car and walk the street. But there is no room, and it's why we did it before. You know, they're putting more and more stuff out on the sidewalks. And some of even the open flags, sometimes you got to walk like this because
Well, I've been
it's
hit in the
windy.
face with open flags.
Yeah. So,
And I'm short.
so anyway, I mean, it is an issue, and I don't know why he isn't following through. I understand he's busy, and I know he's got a lot of other things he's got to do, but we've got to get this rule reined in, or it's like, well, they're doing it, so I'm going to do it.
And that's what was said to me. And
Yeah.
as I said, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I'm going to hang my shoes on the wires tonight.
I'm gonna go
So,
be checking now.
yeah, so anyway, I don't know what the answer is.
Okay.
I wish I did.
Does everybody agree with me that it's an issue?
Yes,
Yeah.
when we
It
brought
is.
it up before, we were told that we can't say anything to him, he is the selectman's employee.
Yes.
So he's his own employee, because he's a selectman.
Right,
So I will come Thursday night and bring it up. How's that?
that's fine.
Anybody wants to join me?
Well,
What?
I'm trying to be objective on that whole thing. And maybe, I mean, what would it take for us to call in the businesses and say, because driving down the street, okay, and I'm just saying this as a person, long before I came in planning board, and I remember that there were things about signs changing. You know, Walgreens, their sign can't change this, their sign can't change that. But you know what? I'm Joe Q. Public driving on the road, and you know, it's like having this person over here grandfathered, but this person over here is not grandfathered, but this person over here doesn't know because they just moved into town. They have a sign on their property so they can use it. So I guess it's a, I don't know, it's a smorgasbord of signs and rules and regulations in this town that make it as a business owner. I'm putting, you know, as a business owner, who, you know, it's different on this side of 93 than it is on this side of 93, and then you have this person over here that can't do this, and you have this person over here that can do that because they've been there, and they were there before the laws were changed and the rules were changed, and
But
That's
one
any
thing,
town.
but it's evident on this road because I go down in Laconia and I know that their signs can only change once an hour. Okay, I don't even live in Laconia, and I know that because I've read it in the paper. Okay, it doesn't matter. Everyone that moves into that town along Union Avenue or Route 3 going through town, they all know that and they have to follow that. And you don't get that here.
And and here's the thing, because it seems like some of those signs were in existence before Laconia passed the regulation,
Right.
and yet they were all made to comply.
Right.
So, and because this document that we got, and I don't know where it is, about grandfathering.
Yeah.
Says there really is no such thing as grandfathering per se.
Right.
Yeah.
Why can't we use that to make
I mean, this
these
is our sign
signs
ordinance, this is
more
our sign
static?
ordinance on Route
Well,
3.
well, let
and-
me throw in something else that's going to blow your mind a little bit. I remember when the signage thing just changed. I wasn't associated with the town, but I got involved because a developer called me and asked me to get involved. And I did. I came in because I was very familiar with the case. I was working here when they got approval. When these people come in and they go to the ZBA and they get a variance for the most horrendous sign there is, 200 feet tall, blinking, flashing, whatever it's doing, it is a law-abiding sign. That variance says it's allowed to be there, it's good. And it can be, variances run with the land, so that sign is good
Forever.
when our great-great-great-grandkids are old people.
Like AutoServe,
Like AutoServe.
they're all grandfather, I mean, they're all
Now,
variants, so they.
We worked very hard to get
Well,
the ZBA
okay.
into people who weren't giving away the farm, so to speak. I dealt with a ZBA at that time. Well, he's a good old boy, he's done a lot of good things for the town, why
Oh,
can't we
that's
give it to
still
him?
happening, and it's happening with our board too.
So it's a case to where, you know, there are rules and regulations, and this is how I feel about it. There's rules and regulations. If you are not going to enforce the rules and regulations, then get rid of them. That's the way I look at it. We have our rules. Now, there are instances, and I can show you documentation, even our own constitution in this states. Our main job is to work with that person coming in to make him be able to have what he wants as well as we can, but he has to stay within the rules and regulations. You also have cases out there. I mean, these are things you gotta deal with. You have undersized lots out there. People are out there that have these lots that were done back in the 40s and 50s, and they're too small. And they get variance approval because they have a hardship there. So all of this stuff keeps piling in, and it creates issues, and I know it does. We have signs that go along Route 3, you look at them and say, what the hell's that sign doing there? We don't have that kind of signage. But it's grandfathered, it's either grandfathered to be there because it was originally approved, or it has a variance approval, which says I can be here forever.
Well, I know an instance, I know it for a fact, a sign appeared on the roof of a building, and I was told, oh, that's been there since they were built. And I know it wasn't. I know,
That's why.
I don't have pictures of it, but I have eyes.
Well, then why don't you go through the pictures? The town has tons of pictures. Joe and I used to go up and down, we'd start at Mosquito Bridge and go all the way to the Franklin line, taking pictures of everybody's sign. So that when they came in and said, we're grandfathered, we go, well, like the one I gave you.
Yeah.
She was truly grandfathered. I found pictures from way back when. So it wasn't like she just popped it out there and said, well, it's always been there. And it is hard. You know, because there are times when it's, well, I didn't remember that being there. But, you know, and we used to do that. So I know that town's got boxes of pictures of
Yeah,
signage.
and I suggested that it be videotaped a couple
Oh,
times a
we
year.
have a videotape at home. I'll bring the videotape
I know, but I
in.
mean, now we should do it
Yeah,
now, every
we
couple.
did the same thing
You don't
with
have to,
the
you get
movie
Google Maps.
camera. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I know there is no simple answer to it. And
They
you have
change.
to be careful, because to say, like our zoning now says, that as of so many years after this signage, that everybody is out of compliance and they have to become compliant. But you can't enforce it. You'll lose your rear end in
Well,
court.
But you've got something like that graphic shop, okay? Because we went through that. She
That
sat
is a-
in here.
That is a case to where code enforcement should be saying, hey, you were told, get them out. There
Well,
should not be any reason to walk downtown and see any signage that isn't permitted to be there, either temporarily or on a
But
regular
when a business
basis.
comes to town, Cause I don't give them the grades.
Yes, they do.
Oh, I give them, you know what I do? When new business comes in town, I give them a signed permit, or when they come in, we give them a signed permit. I also give them a copy of the ordinance. They have the whole thing when they leave here.
Yes, so it's not like
You
they
know,
don't.
I figure they might as well have it, and that way they can read it. I circle where they are, you know, and say, this is what you gotta, you know.
And when we have site plans, you notice pretty much every time, compliance with Tilton signage ordinance.
Yeah.
You know, so when they come in to get their permits, they get a copy of
Yeah,
that
but I'm
ordinance.
supposed to drive 65 down the highway, and no one does. You know, I mean, we can say certain things, but until I get pulled over, guess what I'm gonna do?
Right.
Every day I'm gonna go 70. You know, I went by the cop at 70 today. Tomorrow when I see him, I'm gonna go 71 and see what he does. And I'm gonna go 72. And I'm gonna go 73. But when he pulls me at 74, guess what? I'm not gonna go over 73.
Yeah.
You know, same thing.
Yeah.
You know, they put
You constantly push.
We're pushing, they're pushing. And I understand why they wanna do it.
Yeah.
You know, if I had a chainsaw, I'd go down and cut those trees down right down on Main Street. That'll solve all their problems. You know, I'll go there in the middle of the night, cut down the tree. He wouldn't. Well, now I can't do it because I just said it.
We got to watch somebody do it, and
But,
then
you
we're
know,
gonna be
but-
like, alright.
You know,
Good idea from Mark.
I think I think as a town, we want to draw people into this town and to
Yes.
make downtown thriving. You know, but I think, and we don't want to be antagonistic with these business owners either. But they also have to understand, you know, yeah, it does look bad, and you go through, and you know, I mean, I just, you know, wherever I go, I always look at things. I just look at places. I look at signs, and I look at, you know, because I look at it with eyes, because I work in tourism, and I look at those eyes and just, you know, how does it get people
Well,
around?
Eli's attic, he came in here just, you know, because he was defending the sign thing. Now, they just went to great expense to redo the fronts of those buildings so they look nice. Why would you want to hang a bunch of tacky flags flopping at people's, I don't understand that. But again, the trees are a problem.
Yes, they are.
And I think that's something that needs
So,
to be addressed, so.
Yeah, we need to sit down with, you know, I think after we have public hearings with the downtown business people, then the next thing we're gonna have to do is come up with some suggestions and then go sit down with the Board of Selectmen and say, look, we've talked to these people, and we've mulled over all the suggestions that have been given, and these are some of the things we feel need to happen to make the downtown more business friendly and to attract more customers.
Consumer friendly.
Yeah, and
Right.
consumer friendly. But it has to be both. You know, I don't really like when I worked here, I didn't really like saying, no, you can't put that kind of a sign up. I mean, but could you imagine, I mean, now we had it, I understand it's gone now, it's not in there anymore. We had, you couldn't have any freestanding signs downtown. For the very fact that there's no room to put freestanding signs. You have a sidewalk and you have the storefront, so they could put the signs on the facade.
They couldn't have tables and chairs out either.
Right. Well, it got to the point to where you could not walk down Main Street without getting off the sidewalk and walking in the street because there was so much junk.
But you know, it's not, and I'm bringing up the signs because that happens to be a hot button of mine. But another thing that really makes me furious is every time I go down the street, I must see 4 or 5 bicycles whizzing up and down the streets too.
Well,
that's not being enforced either.
Well,
And
we
that's
just
not very
started with our parking
Downtown
people.
friendly.
We just started
Yeah.
with our parking people, and they're supposed to be dealing with bicycles, the parking
Skateboarders.
ordinance. So,
Why do you have somebody that had a motorized skateboard?
Yes.
They were like
Oh, there's a couple of
forcing
them.
people off the
It was
sidewalk?
confiscated though, that was last summer.
yeah.
We
So,
chased him all the way into Franklin
It was Segway.
That
to
was-
find out where he
Is
lived.
part of
I'd
this
like
that
one of those.
too much is going on in the town and code enforcement needs to be full-time? Is it that busy? I don't know,
I
I'm
don't
never
know.
in that office, I don't know.
I don't know. I can't answer
Can't get around to
that.
doing it.
Some days
Continue
it
to have
is,
these problems,
yeah.
and I'd have to say, probably quite right.
I know when Joe had the job, yes, there were
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
depending on the
Stay on the
season, there were times when he was out straight all the time.
That's
And
when I
then-
first met Joe. I had a
Yeah.
sandwich board at my business over in Silver Lake, and he showed up and knocked on the door, and he's got it in his trunk going, "You didn't bring it in last night, it's not temporary."
No, I
Get
know
rid of
that
it.
in the town I work in the town hall, I've noticed it, and I meant to go back there and look, but they have a bulletin board with all sorts of information, and what they did is, and I don't know what category it's in, but I looked and I was like, oh wow, it's like a wall of shame, they have all the businesses in their violation.
Put that on the little
In
sign
Lincoln?
outside there.
Yeah, in the
Oh,
town hall, and I was
really?
like, and believe it or not, it was like $100 fine against the Paper Mill Theater, because they had signs advertising the theater on other people's property, which you can't advertise, because they didn't have a sign permit,
Right,
because they have all new people there, so they just didn't know.
right.
And I don't know what the result was, but I was like,
Well, I'm not even a fan of these real estate signs
Our Paris
saying
nails.
that, you know, house for sale and pointing down the street, because, and you see them, I've seen them more often at Manville Road, because
Yeah.
they're selling properties
Right,
back
and
here to
down.
draw people in, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, that's what you're putting that in the paper for. There
Did you
shouldn't
notice
be
that there's a
sign.
new, fireworks sign down on 140?
Yes, they got a new sign.
They got a new sign, they come in, they said, we wanna put up a new sign, I said, is it gonna flash dance or anything? He says, nope, that one broke and I want a new one, I said, oh, the town will be very happy about that. So,
but, you know,
it doesn't flash or dance
if you look
anymore.
at the auto dealership, when they re-put that new sign, if you look at it, it's actually fixed now where it's tilted towards the road. And when you come off of that interstate, that sign blinds you at night.
Well,
It's
then
raining,
tell
it's
the
impossible.
code enforcement
That's what
officer
Karen says
that,
whenever she comes up the highway.
because I
It's
know
supposed to
when
be
Joe,
mounted flush on the surface.
What
yes,
sign is
when
It's not
Joe-
mounted
The
flush
big,
on the
Oh,
sign.
I know.
the big.
That
Joe
big
would
one
have
up
spent
there.
a lot of
The
time
side
with
of
him
auto service.
because they had a couple of lights in one of their signs, and he went and met them there at night, and they just kept angling until he said, okay, now it's all right, because of that very same
No,
problem.
I'm talking about the big LED, the big.
The big
The
one on
Jumbotron,
the
big-
pole,
no,
on the
not
pole?
on
The
pole.
one that does.
The one on the building, the
Oh,
No, I'm talking
Jumbotron.
about buildings,
Yeah.
when they remounted that sign, instead of being
Flush.
flush,
flat
They
it's
against
angled
now
it right
this
at the
way,
highway.
it's angled so that when you come off exit 20 southbound,
Yeah,
it's,
blind.
especially on a rainy night,
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I know they shut it off late at night, because a lot of times when I come home, it's not on, but when I do come home now, this time of year, I'm like, oh, wow, it's really bright.
But those are things Al wouldn't know too, because if he's not coming off the exit that time of night, if
Alright.
somebody.
Yeah, he
doesn't
goes
know,
by,
I
he
don't
goes
know.
by in the middle of the night, but he's going,
But if he's
by,
not coming that
right,
way.
But
He's going
another
the wrong
one,
direction.
I'll
He
give you
wouldn't see
another area that drives me nuts. First of all, Melt Away sign was mounted on the roof.
But they
way
took it
Just
after
down.
keep
that
getting
was-
more and more signage.
well,
Okay.
yeah, that's when they changed it.
Shiloh's has never changed that sign. That was temporary, I believe. And I love that restaurant, so it has nothing to do with anything like that.
Oh, the entrance sign? you mean?
Lenny was
Yeah.
supposed to remove, if you remember, Lenny was gonna remove that was part of what Meltaway talked about.
Mhm.
And we talked with Lenny, he was gonna remove that whole thing that had Lenny's,
Right,
Lucky Lenny's. Well, that part came off, but the rest of the thing is still up there.
yeah.
I mean, it's just,
I thought he was gonna put in a plaza sign.
that's what I thought.
But I
too.
think,
Yeah.
but he couldn't, I think he couldn't, because it's two separate
It's
lots.
two
and
separate
therefore-
properties.
Well, he could put a sign up for the one property and then a sign for the other
Yeah, but I think
property,
it was too much expense for him,
because he wouldn't.
or DOT.
He's not gonna be
wouldn't let him or
doing
something.
anything,
Or
he's
something.
leaving for like a 6-week trip to Europe.
Oh,
He's
well,
going,
why
he's,
didn't he, I don't understand, he could have merged the lots too.
But
yeah,
anyway, well, that's, the other thing I wanted to bring up, Joan O'Connor,
Yep,
the farmer's market is going to be at Agway.
Oh, it is?
It is,
Oh,
okay.
Okay?
if we get
That was one of my
confirmation on
questions.
It's
that.
going to be 2 days, it's gonna be Saturday and Sunday.
That was one of
Well,
my
I
questions
At
about that,
Agway, and auto service is gonna be paid for the parking details, the police
too.
detail,
Okay, well, that settles that whole issue. 'cause
okay?
She had it out on the website and all about
Well-
where it was gonna be.
I
and-
called Dennis Gaudette today,
how you doing?
Well, Tim Bouch, what's his name over here?
fire department, yeah.
Yeah, he's waiting, he wants to go through the lot, the building, because he's going to set a maximum number of people that can be in the site at any one time. And what they use is the number of exits plus the square footage, and they come up with a body count that you can't exceed. You know, and although people think they're mean and cruel, it's for their, you know, if you get a
Safety.
fire, you gotta know you can get the people out of there.
You've heard of Station Nightclub, haven't you?
So,
Plus you have a lot of elderly people that go to the
Right.
farmer's market.
so anyway, he will be going over there because, you know, the board did tell her that, you know, the fire, she'd need a CO.
Yeah.
Even though she wasn't going to get and that includes the fire department, so
Okay, so
I
those are
did
just,
tell him.
those are things I wanted to bring up, I'm sorry, but
Okay.
I just,
Before we leave, did anyone have any suggestions or recommendations for the thing that you got last week
Best pocket.
on Best Pocket Park?
None of us
Well, we
got
know-
that
I
either,
can get that.
so we.
No,
need
she
to do
handed it
something.
out last
I
week at the
handed it
meeting.
out at the meeting.
I wasn't here, so I
Oh,
don't have a copy.
um,
That's where the state is
I have
going to
two
deed
copies
us the
here.
property.
Yeah, I gathered that, but.
here, Norm, I have another one if you want.
I'm looking for
Thank you. Well, they decided they were just gonna deed this over.
Yes, and, you know, if you read in, I think it's 41, we have to have 2 public hearings and have to have input from the planning board and the conservation commission. When we're accepting property, buying property, selling property, you know, when the board of selectmen are doing that, then they have to get, feedback from, planning and conservation. And then we'll have our 2 hearings and then we'll sign the deed. The same with, the easement, copy of the easement that was given to you for John Bernard. That will be treated the same way, so, that's why you were all sent the easements to look at it, and if you had any comments, suggestions, ridicule, whatever it might be, you know, so that, the selectmen will know. Okay, here is a map. I blew it up because they gave us this little 8x10 dinky thing, which we needed a big magnifying glass. But the hatched area is West Pocket Park. The first deed they sent, they had to redo because they had taken a little bit more, you know, for a workspace for the bridge. So they did up a new deed with the new numbers so that, you know, it'll still be a grassy area, but it gives them a work area. But anyway, this is, if you wanna pass that around and look at it, that's the park. I know you're all familiar with it.
Yeah.
And, then of course the new deed, which that's not it, it's only part of it. This gives all the measurements and everything. And, the only thing is, you know, we can't use it, we can't develop it, it has to stay a park, which obviously
This,
we would.
this piece here is, of Riverfront is not part of Best Pocket Park?
No.
State is retaining ownership of
No, that belongs to, that's in the shoreland thing, and so, actually though, that's not quite true. This is where, this was all Barton's before. I'm trying to, wait a minute, let me see. This is the way it goes. No, this is Park Street. Okay, so you come up and go this way, so this whole hatched area, I believe, let me get the deed out, I've got a copy of it. Whether or not the water frontage was part of the park. Okay, now. Yeah, it says southwesterly to a point in the northerly bank of the Winnipesaukee River, so this is all going to be part of the park.
Okay.
This, where you see this line, that used to be where there was a building there,
Right.
and then they took it down, obviously. But that's physically the park now, 'cause we don't have anything, this is just natural growth back here.
I noticed that they put their distances in meters. That's interesting.
Yes,
We're going metric, you know that? One day.
Been metric for 20 years.
But then they put it in feet and the brackets,
Yes, it's got both.
34 and 21.
11
So
point
where do we-
meters, 36 and 9/10 feet. So they're giving you both measurements there in the deed.
I don't have a metric.
It says it has 297.3 square meters,
Right of ways.
or a square, and then they give you the square footage. So anyway, if you have any comments, we'll, Gus, make sure that you put this discussion in the minutes, please, so that we'll have a recording of anything that the board has to say about it.
Sandy, who handles the deeds?
When you say who handles the deeds?
Well, you know, I mean, a lot of the deeds were done a lot of years ago. Like, my deed reads from the stone wall to
Yeah.
That's
The
how it
manure
will.
pile.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will.
Generally speaking, when, say if you were to, well, when you bought your property or when you sell your property, they usually, unless something's happened to that property, to say a subdivision or something like that, they'll just grab the old description and put it in the new deed. And that's why, you know, like my big old maple tree on the such and such side of my property has probably been gone for 100 years, but it's still in the deed as a reference point.
okay.
So, but nothing has happened to my property. Now, if, say, I took and subdivided my property up, then they'd have to write a new description for the property. And usually whoever is handling the sale, the attorney for, you know, if it's in a realtor's office or if you're doing a private sale,
Or a surveyor.
or a surveyor, when they do it, they will, you know, create the new description, property description, especially if they're doing the subdivision.
And that's registered in the county,
Right.
and that stays forever. I mean, you know, you can go back, that's why when people do deed researches, they go back and they read one,
Yeah.
and it'll refer to something else, you go back to another record and see, and that's, I mean, it took
Right.
forever to find out in the Grange, for instance, and how
Right.
that whole property was done, but.
Yep.
40 years ago, give or take, I worked for a surveyor that was working out of Northfield.
It
Just
just,
He
to show us
accepted a
where,
job
because
in
it shows
Wells,
what's
Maine,
proposed right of ways, but there's no
and
right of ways
everything, the
listed.
bounds
Right,
were all
no, that's
Okay,
all
marked
it
away,
is,
or
just for
fences that
information.
yeah.
were gone.
They send
We
this
tramped
little
around in
tiny
the
8 by 10
wetlands for
things.
a couple of days,
I don't
looking
think
for
don't-
the slightest inkling of a
I
place
just
to
wanted to see
start.
if there really were right of ways.
We couldn't find the Grange, we couldn't find one because it was under a
But
stone
that's all
wall,
that
the stone
really
wall's
is,
now
just,
gone, so we don't know where
case
the
of-
end of the stone wall was.
Because there's a law
My deed
Are we
didn't say
keeping you
anything.
awake?
I have no,
Yeah.
For knives,
no,
pass it
nothing.
No,
around.
I was just
I have 2
explaining
lots,
on
that's it.
the deeding of the Vespaca Park. We have a law that says we cannot use taxpayers' money for private property. And we've been maintaining the park all along because when it was originally done, the intent was that it would be deeded to the town of Tilton, it would be our property. And somewhere along the line, it got lost, the fact that they never deeded it. And all these years, we've been taking care of it. So, you know, we just explained to the state, look, you know, you said you would deed it to us, you never did, and we've been maintaining it all these years. Either let's take care of it, or you
No,
come
you
up and
can
take
keep
care of your
those,
own
I
park.
guess. If you want them.
I was
So,
under the impression that they were office copies.
No, you were,
They were
No,
my
she
copies?
had some extras and then I passed them out.
That was the town
So,
refund line.
anyway, if you have any
Like,
comments,
$1,000
suggestions, whatever it might be, we need to know
Okay.
so that we can complete this.
I'm just glad that we finally are getting it,
Yes, I am too.
okay. We're gonna quickly go through correspondence,
Okay,
Are we gonna do the minutes too?
we are, but
Okay.
let's, the correspondence will be even faster. First letter is from a DOT, and it's about the John Bernard case that we just had, saying he couldn't put a sidewalk there. I mean, you'd have to put a curb in there in the front, and that's why,
Right.
when we went out there, we looked for an alternate method of getting there.
right.
The next is DOT, It's on Subway, saying basically that Subway asked for a proposed change of use for a driveway, because they were taking over that building. And it says since it's a parking lot, they don't need to change any of the requirements for their entrance. Okay, so
Right.
there's that. Lakes Region Planning Commission, there's just a notice of the minutes. Then there's a letter here that it looks to me like it's all that fence viewer. It's all a part of that.
Oh, it's, yeah.
I don't know why we have it.
Mr.
Sellers?
Sellers
Yeah.
made sure that we had a copy, so I just.
Okay, it goes into public hearings and so on. If anybody'd like to take I'm not gonna read the whole thing, it's several pages.
Yeah,
But it goes into the RSA dealing with public hearings and how you have so many days to hold a public hearing and how many you have to hold. So I'm gonna leave that in the correspondence file if anybody wants to take a look at that.
I guess he has he had an issue with the Concom not having a public, not having a, posted public hearing for.
Oh, it's a big old mess up there. He's not getting along with his neighbor.
Who's this?
Mr. Sellers.
Ralph Sellers, he owns the property. It's at the corner of Lancaster Hill and Sanborn
that
Road.
wasn't really a site plan.
He sells,
In 132.
Yeah, on 32 and Lancaster Hill Road.
He sells-
It's the old movie place.
I mean, we're being
Gallery,
nice
movie
so
gallery.
that he doesn't have to spend the money again, but it's still,
There
it's
was a video,
not,
something coming in
it's
the
not a
window.
site
there
plan.
used to be
It's
a
nothing
video
wrong
store
with it.
in the front,
Yeah, yeah.
there.
Oh,
What
nice.
he's-
Jeez, I miss so much.
I would put it under outdoor
I guess he's going to
display.
open
I mean,
in
it
6
is
weeks.
a business.
He's gonna- Hopefully.
Yes,
won't
it-
take 6 weeks.
Alright,
Subway?
Oh,
Okay.
that one.
Subway, yeah. It's gonna move out of Franklin
Yeah, yeah.
into Tilton.
Alright,
So we're talking Susan.
alright.
Right.
Another thing, that Chuck Mitchell had asked about, the wetland survey and when it could be held. Make sure that goes on the agenda for our next meeting so we can discuss that, because that's something we should put into.
Oh, well, I already told him, I thought it was an excellent
Oh,
idea.
okay.
We already have it in our subdivision, there's no reason
Alright.
why the statement that's in our
well,
subdivision shouldn't be added to our.
Okay, let me just
Zoning.
let the planning board know what it
Yeah.
is though, however. Chuck Mitchell said Sandy, and, he said that it states no wetland survey is conducted but from December 1st to March 31st. It just won't be accepted. There's,
Right.
and he found it in the subdivision regulations.
I did.
Gus did, alright. And Chuck wanted to know if it applied to all wetland delineation or only to subdivisions. And if it applies to all, will it need to be added into our zoning ordinance? And, so you're gonna add
Yeah,
it
we're
into
gonna
it,
put it
okay,
in.
which was a real good point.
We'll
Because
take
it
the
says-
same statement, we won't change it at all, just
Yeah.
put the whole thing right there. I suggested to Gus, well, maybe a good place to be right in the beginning of where we start our wetlands and groundwater and, to have that statement right at the very beginning as you're getting into the wetland section.
So it needs to be put in the wetland, what we're saying, it needs to be put in the wetland portion of our local ordinances.
The zoning
Yeah,
ordinance.
right
Okay.
in the beginning in the
Yeah.
zoning ordinance, right.
Alright, so I just wanted to bring that up. Now, minutes. I'm sorry I jumped around so much, but
We can't keep
Huh?
up.
What?
No, it's okay. ADD's kicking in.
ADD, yeah.
ADHD.
No, Prozac hasn't kicked in yet, that's the problem. Alright, the minutes.
I just found nitpicky stuff,
That's all I found too.
like the paragraph that begins Joan O'Connor.
Yeah,
Last year's should be possessive, so there should be
Yeah.
an apostrophe.
yeah.
And a little further down,
I
she
don't
received
have
a
a
call.
Wait a minute.
I don't-
Last year's?
Last year's,
See? Look,
well,
What?
you must have a later
Mine's
copy,
not done.
because
Mine
there's
is.
no apostrophe, but further down, she received a call from Gaudettes. You have it possessive and it should not be.
All right, check that out. And last year's, I'm not seeing that one, maybe I just can't see it right
About
now.
halfway down.
Oh, yeah, okay, I got it right here,
Yeah.
okay.
And then on page 3,
Oh, wait a minute, okay, parking and she, I got maybe able, should be 2 words.
yeah,
Thanks, Dad.
Maybe, you want
Parking.
that 2 words?
Yeah, that's 2 words.
Okay,
Where are you?
Third
Oh.
line.
I don't see that.
The what?
I got that now. There is more parking, may be able
No.
to.
Oh, I do have 2 words.
Yeah, we don't.
I know.
I didn't.
I don't know where you get yours, because we don't have them.
I know, I made some man.
I got 2 words.
Maybe you edited yours and you printed it out.
Next.
Okay, maybe I just sent you the wrong ones.
Oh,
Well, it's like a nitpicky thing, so.
yeah,
Yeah.
on,
Don't change the gender.
I had on page 3,
Okay,
the paragraph that says, Mr. Cropsey explained,
yep,
and it should say, asphalt auction was the way he would have gone.
Yeah, I get that too.
yeah, that's what I
Asphalt
had.
option was
I
the
don't have a
way
have in
Yeah.
mind.
to
he
add-
would,
Oh, I do.
would have, oh, I mean,
Yeah.
have, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Apparently
sorry.
We're gonna
Apparently
spend
so.
time on this, we should have the latest and greatest.
Right.
Well,
By the way, Cropsey, I noticed he has permeable pavers in his, I think that's pallets of them, I believe, on
You have the
Mill
word
Street.
have?
That's what it looked like to me. I may be
which
wrong,
ones
but
do
it
I
looked
have
like it.
here?
He might be using the
I don't know,
permeable
but-
pavers to walk.
But on page 4, the 3rd word,
Or
you got
maybe the wall
behang,
clock.
it should be behind.
Now, where are
Third
you?
Page 4, the 3rd word at the top of the page, to hide behang the planting. Should be
you
behind.
have a different copy.
I don't have that.
I don't have that either.
That's what I got.
I don't know where you are, that's not.
I'm on page 4, right at the top.
What does it say at your top?
It says, to hide behang the
I've
planting.
got,
No, mine
plant-
says
Bru- I've got.
Ms.
plant-
Ollie.
Bruce
Are we on the
Bruce.
same thing?
Yeah,
Your printer comes out weird.
Well, probably not. I mean, did you print these at home?
Yes.
Oh, and that could be the difference, but.
What is the whole sentence?
Well, it starts out at the bottom of page 3.
3.
oh,
Mrs.
behind.
Ollie had a concern?
Yeah, and if you
Oh,
go
it's
to
on
the end,
the-
it doesn't allow someone to hide behang, it should be behind.
Okay, so now I get where you are.
Okay,
Parking lot lights,
Whatever it is now on here, but.
easement, Mr. Cropsey said they're
Really
planned.
oh, yeah,
Me,
right,
which printer I
yeah,
print on.
you're right, I
Which
just got,
computer do I print them from?
okay,
He explained.
Behind.
sidewalk and
Got that one.
I think that's all I had.
I'm still finding
Behing, Behing.
I haven't found it
Hey,
yet.
you know, I read the newspapers and they make a lot of mistakes
Right,
too.
that's
I make a motion to accept the
Wait a minute,
minutes.
wait.
Wait, there's another one.
Nope.
What
too
one?
late. Motion on the floor.
Okay, Eric, wasn't this you that stated about solar lighting may not work in the winter because it gets darker early?
Where's that?
Page, well, we think it's page
Page
4.
something around here, but this one here.
Page 4.
4-ish. I was concerned about the lighting, but you gave us the input on the
Mrs.
solar
Tilton
lighting.
has concerns about,
It was him, yeah.
Stated that the solar lighting, that was Eric had stated the solar.
Don't remember everything I said, but.
And it should be okay, then if you're gonna go, Mr. Cropsey agreed if using solar lights, there would be a battery backup instead of they would be, or
There you go.
they
So
would
they would
have
have
a
a
battery
Mine,
backup.
oh, you're saying it should be not Ms. Tilton, it should be Mr. Pyra.
Right.
Oh,
I don't think
oh,
that-
okay, you wanted Miss, oh, okay,
You gave credit to the wrong person.
it's not in
I don't
there.
know enough about solar
Yours
lights.
are probably right.
They're behind or beginning.
And then when,
Behing.
at the end of that paragraph, it said Mr.
Mr.
Crossley agreed if using solar lights.
There would be a
There.
battery backup, or they would have a battery backup.
Oh, okay, I do
Okay.
have behind, hide behind
Yeah,
planters.
well, my copy is the behang.
Oh, okay.
Again, yours are right.
Now,
Yeah.
is that what you got in the mail, or is that
Well,
what
she
you?
just gave it to me, it was here
Oh,
on the table.
what'd you print out?
I printed it out from the computer, I believe, today.
Oh,
I don't know what I did.
Actually, let me see what I printed out.
Mine printed out and it's different, so I don't know. I
yeah.
printed this one out.
Are you using an HP printer, or are you using a Dell?
Okay, the only thing I
Okay.
found
Spelling
is
might be
on
different
page
to them.
6,
It might,
on page
no, it's
6.
my spelling.
I'm gonna say at the top of the page, it starts discussion on the conservation easements the town has ensued. Are we all in the same?
Yes, I have
Yeah.
that right here.
Okay,
Yeah.
the second line said the board decided to see if Tim could add There's an E on the end of add, it just needs to be taken.
See, I
out.
don't have that.
No, see if Tim could
All right.
show the easements on the website.
I have a, did I have a motion to
Yes.
accept the minutes?
I
Do I have a
do.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, Eric, take the easy ones.
Yeah.
Here,